On your radio, this is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Great to be with you on a Wednesday morning. What's happening? Hope you had a great day yesterday. Lined up for a great day today. My name is Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass, he is the great one in charge of the broadcast today. Lonzo's here as well. And what a day. What a day lined up today. A lot of stuff to get into. I will tell you that we will bring to light as we get set to record our Wednesday edition of the Views from Mint Street podcast. PJ Walker out with a high ankle sprain. Baker Mayfield will get the start for the Panthers on Sunday. Sam Darnold will be playing the backup role on Sunday. We'll break that down for you. Last night, as a matter of fact, a phenomenal collegiate basketball game between Kansas and Duke. And it was everything we hoped it would be. Duke with a bunch of phenom freshmen, but it was the wily vets of the Rock Chalk Jayhawks that got the job done. We'll talk a little college basketball. It's about that time, y'all. College shooty hoops is here. So we'll start getting into that. Obviously, we got a big weekend in college football upcoming. Granted, as we talked about very briefly yesterday on the show, there is really only one game, in my opinion, that matters. And that game will take place next Saturday when The Ohio State University and Michigan get it on, because somebody's taking a tumble out of the top four, I think. Everybody else between here and there is pretty much secured. And we'll talk about that later in the show, because yesterday evening, after the playoff rankings dropped, I saw a ton of Clemson sports writers and fans and outlets coming up with the, hey, Clemson's not done. They're not still stuck outside of the top four. So you're saying there's a chance. And there's not. I'm sorry to tell you, there's not.
So unrealistic. But that's okay. That's what fandom's about.
Sure.
It's being fanatic and crazy and coming up with all these weird scenarios that are just not going to happen. But at least you get to whine the rest of the season. So there's that.
I like wine.
Or off season.
I'm a big fan of I'm a Merlot guy predominantly. Will occasionally slip in a Cabernet here and there. Not a big white wine guy. You know, it's too mild of wine. I like my wine to be strong. Like a strong wine. Clemson currently checked in at number 9. They are behind 2-loss Alabama, 1-loss USC, 2-loss LSU. LSU's got another loss coming because they're going to get beat by Georgia. Tennessee does not.
Clemson might be ranked a little high.
I don't think they're ranked high. I just don't think they're ranked high enough for the folks that are. And listen, I'm not mad at them. It's the job, right? Like, you need people listening, clicking, reading, writing, interacting, sure.
So you're saying it's okay to spread falsehoods or false hope to make the people who just go, hey, he said this, so it must be true.
Paul!
Those people. So it's okay to lead them on and make them think that something's a possibility when it's not.
No, I didn't say it was okay to. I said I understand why they do. At the end of the day, folks like us get paid by the click. We get paid by the ear. We get paid by the eyeball. We get paid by the interaction, right? That's not my style. I can't do it. But I understand people who do. Don't like it, but I understand it.
That's why I'm glad we're not a Clemson show. Who would want to be that? I mean, because you'd have to come up with stuff.
For the record, I also saw Penn State people yesterday. Look, even if Michigan loses to Ohio State, they still beat you. They're not dropping behind you, right? It's not the only school that does it. It's just the predominant school in our listening area that's doing it.
That's the loudest and most annoying. I said it. Rob didn't.
Come at Zoe, bro.
Make it a normal day.
Come at Zoe, bro. Anyway, Clemson sitting at number 9. They're too far out. I'm very sorry. And if you want evidence of that, while Clemson sits at number 9 at 9-1, predominantly because of a weak Atlantic Coast Conference, you got to go all the way down to 13 to find North Carolina, who sports the same record in the same conference, right? And North Carolina's only loss comes from a common opponent, granted a team that Clemson beat, but the only L, that Clemson also lost to, the only L for the Tar Heels was also the Irish of Notre Dame. 45-32 way back in week 4, I believe. But they also had that 2-point win over Appalachian State. Of course, Appy State would go on to beat Texas A&M in their house. They allowed 28 from Georgia State. They got into a shootout with a very bad Miami football team. They got into a shootout with Duke. They got into a shootout with Virginia. They got into a shootout with Wake Forest. They are being penalized, as is Clemson, for playing in a weak ACC and getting into some games that should not be games, at least not the quantity of games, right? Like Georgia had their shootout with Mizzou, but Georgia also ran roughshod over everybody else and in a tougher conference. That's why they get them flowers. Michigan hasn't had nearly as many close games as North Carolina in a weak Big Ten, but with the exception of a 1-touchdown shootout against Maryland, Michigan has run roughshod over everybody else. That's why they are where they are. Same with Ohio State. If either Clemson or North Carolina had knocked off Notre Dame, either Clemson or North Carolina would have been announced last night at probably number 5. Clemson would not. Clemson would have been number 4 if they didn't drop the ball at Notre Dame. If they didn't get smoked by Notre Dame, they might, with a capital M, be sitting probably around 8, one spot ahead of Alabama. But because you got rocked by Notre Dame, and because Alabama's 2 L's were to 2 of the teams inside the top 5, and both of them shootouts for the most part, that would be top 6, LSU and Tennessee. Bama gets the nod. Lonzo, I would say, with our playoff top 10 last night of Utah, Clemson, Bama, SC, LSU, 10-6, 5-1, Tennessee, TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia. No real surprises out of that list from me.
Yeah, none for me either. I mean, all this is going to work itself out.
Yeah, but don't.
The real question. The real question is who's going to slip into that spot when either Michigan or Ohio State wins, because that's going to open up. Will Tennessee jump in there? Who will jump in there?
Yeah, I think Tennessee is it. I think Tennessee is even with the unless LSU beats Georgia, right? We've had this conversation a couple times, and I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it again. If LSU beats Georgia, sitting at number 6, because not only would they be the SEC champions, but they would have knocked off number 1, and though Tennessee would be 9-1, LSU would have knocked off the team that knocked out Tennessee. So even though they don't play straight up with each other, they would have that head-to-head common opponent, and LSU would get the nod. I think LSU would probably pop into the 3 spot. The winner of Ohio State, Michigan goes to 1. TCU goes to 2 as an undefeated Big 12 winner, and 3-4 ends up being LSU, Georgia. Tennessee would end up at 5. USC 6, Alabama 7, Clemson 8.
I'm still going to fight you on this. No way LSU gets in with 2 losses. I don't care if they win the SEC. They're not going to do that. Just not going to do that.
Do you put a 2-loss LSU SEC champion behind a 1-loss Big Ten non-conference championship participant? So I can't.
Yeah, I put them behind anybody with 1 loss, even Clemson, because Clemson will be.
But they will have also had 1 more game than almost everybody else with 1 loss.
Not Clemson, they won't. I'd put Clemson ahead of LSU.
You would put. See, I couldn't
because they're not going to put a 2-loss team in there, no matter who they are. They're not going to put them in.
Then why do they have LSU 6 behind a 1-loss Clemson by 3 spots? By the way, this isn't this isn't 2-loss LSU barely edged out a 1-loss Clemson for number 6. This is LSU at 6 behind only a 1-loss SEC team, 3 full spots ahead of the Tigers.
So you're going to want me to wish that LSU beats Georgia just to prove my point, and it's not going to happen. Georgia's going to whip LSU, and we'll be able to have this argument forever, because then the playoffs will expand and it won't matter. Because then a 2-loss team will get in when the playoffs expand.
I think. Yes, I would agree with that. I absolutely do think a 2-loss team gets in.
In their defense, they can say we're here to put the best teams in despite record, and then you're going to open up a whole different argument from years past when there were 2-loss teams that probably were better than some of whoever got that 4 spot. Like a Cincinnati or someone like that.
I think that an additional trophy and an additional game and your 2 losses both coming to top 5 teams in college football is enough of a justification to be the first 2-loss team in, right? We are looking for the 4 best teams, not the 4 most deserving teams, not the 4 teams with the most trophies, but I think all of those things become a factor, right? So LSU lost by a single point in a neutral site game, though it wasn't, but a neutral site game to a top 25 Florida State team by a blocked PAT, right? LSU knocks through that PAT. They probably win that game because every bit of momentum was in their corner into what would have been an overtime.
See, I'm trying to find it, but it seems to me that a couple of years ago, there was a Big Ten champ with 2 losses, and they didn't make it in.
I don't disagree. What I'm saying here.
This is just because it's the SEC.
This is not because it is the SEC. It is because of what the SEC is today. The SEC has spots at number 1, number 5, number 6, number 8. 40% of the playoff top 10 belongs to the SEC. Now, if you would like to make an argument as to why any of those teams that are in the top 10 from the SEC don't belong there, and that percentage of 40% of the top 10 belonging to that conference is unfair, then I am happy to hear that argument, but I don't have one. Georgia is, to me, the best team in college football. Not unbeatable, but the best team in college football. Tennessee at 9-1, I think is perfectly suited at number 5. Frankly, I think Tennessee beats TCU 5 out of 6 games, but TCU gets the nod for being undefeated because it's a factor. LSU has turned a corner. Bama's only 2 losses are to 2 really good teams that are ranked higher than them.
But should it be a factor? Because they're supposed to look and go, these are the best teams in football. So if you put Tennessee and TCU side by side, why should the record matter?
The record has always been a factor. Why should the record matter? To me personally, doesn't, right? I lean on the eyeball test. I am looking at your entire resume, your entire body of work from start to finish. But to say that I'm not paying attention to what you are as a football team now as a strong element of consideration would be wrong, right?
Well, if the record matters, then a 2-loss team is not going to get it.
Again, I think the record is a factor. This is not, to me, not something where the record is the most important thing, right? Because if it was, North Carolina would not be sitting at 13 at 9-1. They would be up at least by Clemson at 9-1. But the record is a factor. Did you beat everybody you were supposed to beat? And when you play out of a weaker conference, the number of teams on the roster which you were supposed to beat goes up, right? Did LSU beat everybody they were supposed to beat? You could say no because they lost to FSU. But, again, considering every single factor, that was game number 1, week number 1. Against, by the way, it was not Florida State's first game, remember. It was LSU's first game. Florida State had already had a tune-up game in week 0. LSU did not. They lost by a single point on a blocked PAT, right? Otherwise, they probably win that game. They get dinged for that L, but I don't look at that L and say that L knocked them out of what should or should not be consideration for a spot. So I got no problem with LSU at number 6 with a potential path into the top 4. Because if they beat the University of Georgia, something that no one else has been able to do, then I would say at that point, you absolutely can justify saying they are one of the best 4 teams in college football. No problem. All right, your thoughts. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Couple of texts that have come in so far. Brandon said, hear me out, 18 playoff. Georgia hosts Bama, Ohio State hosts SC, Michigan hosts LSU, TCU hosts UT. I'm going to tell you right now, Brandon, the initial line of thought is we're going to 12. Top 4 get a bye, right? So being in the top 4 still gets you a bit of a reward here, which would leave Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU on the bye. But that still assumes conference championship games. We've got to rank the top 4, which is why to me, my favorite idea has always been nobody gets a bye, right? We do 8 or we do 16 and nobody gets a bye. Everybody plays every round. Let's see who the best is then. Let's see. Josh said, wait, North Carolina got into a shootout with mayonnaise? That's a good one. I see what you did there, Skrilla. See what you did there. Kevin, Rob, Lonzo, if LSU beats Georgia in the SEC championship game and TCU wins out, USC Cal wins out, and Pac-12 championship, would Tennessee move in the playoffs or would Georgia stay because they beat Tennessee? If Georgia beats LSU, or if LSU beats Georgia, I think Georgia still gets the nod by way of being 12-1, their only loss coming to the eventual SEC champions. The Pac-12, the ACC, and the Big 12 are all getting knocked for where they are. Frankly, Zoe, I think the only conference that does not have a penalty for being as bad as it is this year or not being up to the merits of the top conference is the SEC. The Big 10 to some degree, because I think now, in fairness, the 2 best teams in the Big 10 are in the same division, right? If Ohio State and Michigan were on opposite sides of the Big 10 and were to play each other in the Big 10 championship, then I think there's a path for the loser of that game to stay
Why don't
in.
they fix that? You know, I just don't understand why they don't fix that.
That's on y'all, dog.
Yeah.
That don't on me.
I don't know why they don't fix that.
That ain't on me.
Because wouldn't that be amazing?
I think the Big 10 probably just doesn't want 47 consecutive years where the Big 10 championship is just Ohio State and Michigan every year.
Yeah, that probably would be right.
I mean, my guess, right? Be my guess. Nathan chimed in on the live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or by searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show on the YouTubes or the Twitches. Nathan said, this is why college football is stupid. Get a playoff system that had rules and makes sense. Some years winning your conference matters. Some years it doesn't. Some years winning your conference matters. Some years it doesn't. I think it depends on the conference, right? Whoever wins the SEC has a massive leg up, even if they have a loss or two, than, for instance, whoever wins the ACC.
This has been the argument forever, but Division II, or whatever they call it now, has had a playoff system forever, and it's worked every single year.
Yeah. Yeah. Granted, you don't have nearly as many fans to complain about it, but I never really heard lower level college football complaining about their postseason, right? Who's the best team? I don't know. Get out there for 48, get out there for 60, whatever minutes they play, and let's go see. I'm good with that. All right, coming up on the show today. Speaking of the Atlanta Braves, which those of you watching the stream know I brought that up. My man Brandon popped up with a Braves take. Speaking of the Atlanta Braves, not only do they have this year's National League Rookie of the Year in Michael Harris II, they had the National League Rookie of the Year runner-up in Spencer Strider. That poses a really good scenario for the Atlanta Braves. I'll tell you what that is coming up later on the show. Emily Adams of the Greenville News is going to join us later on in the show as well, mainly because there was an interesting soundbite out of Shane Beamer's press conference yesterday that I want to get Emily's thoughts on from somebody that was in the room when it happened. I will play that for you, and we will address it. He spoke directly to and perhaps at Gamecocks fans yesterday. And at a point in time where I've seen a lot of SC fans taking a lot of BS on Twitter and Facebook, I would like to address that. And we'll do it next on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo and you, this is the Fan Upstate.
Thursday, sunshine high 48 degrees. And Friday, mostly sunny high 55. For the weekend, sunshine highs in the 50s.
Sunshine on my shoulder.
Stop it.
Makes me happy.
Stop it.
You don't like a little sunshine on your shoulders, though?
Who sings that?
John Denver.
Right. Stop it.
We got any John Denver fans in the chat today? Let me hear you, John Denver fans.
If you're a John Denver fan, I'm guessing you're not loud.
Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
I'm guessing most of his concerts were probably pretty subdued, pretty low key. I don't think there's any, a John Denver fan, whoa. I don't think there's, yeah. Most excitable I ever saw him was when he was on the Muppets.
Great episode, too.
It was. Except for the singing.
And the haters gonna hate. That's Taylor Swift.
Did you get in line for your tickets?
No, I was not paying $700 damn to see Tay-Tay. I got YouTube, bro.
Is there any band that you would pay that much to see?
I did pay $600. I didn't pay $600 by myself to see the Eagles, but I did pay quite a bit of money to see the Eagles.
Yep, nobody I want to see that bad.
I would do $600 to see the Eagles. I would do $600 to see. That's a short list, if I'm being honest. I'm going to that, by the way. It's not spending me $600.
Let's see. Car payment or going to see these people sing songs?
What do you mean, these people? What do you mean, these people?
Whichever people it should be, whether it's the Eagles or Kiss or Duran Duran.
I love Kiss, but I would not pay $600 to see Kiss. Granted, I have seen Kiss already, so that's a good part of the reason why. All right, who in the chat would you pay $600 to see in a concert? There's our question for the day.
Apply online, and you can get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR, but with Lightspring, you can get a fixed rate as low as 6.99% APR.
First of all, Nathan, that would never happen. That would be hilarious, but that would never happen. The closest thing I could do to it would be to go on to a show on this station and do that.
So he doesn't have to go on another station for that.
Yeah, I could just
do it right here.
Just come back in here in a couple hours. Yes, all his vehicles, if he so should choose to drive them, were gifted. So, I mean, that's how that works when you're. Why is he a 2%er now? Inflation.
What the hell do you mean my vehicles were gifts?
Inflation. I said when you choose to drive, when you're hitting the limo, you're not driving that. Your guy is, whichever one you're on now, because you fire them like right and left. If I told you to turn left and you're fired. I told you to turn right.
I sincerely very much hope that one day that I have the life that Lonzo thinks I do. Sounds amazing.
Well, I will say, growing up where I grew up and growing up where you grew up, it's 1%er compared to, I mean,
I don't.
We can't help where we were born to and where we, grew up
at.
A
lot of you guys don't have a genuine concept of what actual wealth is.
Well, yeah, I've been to parties in places with houses that are really, really big. So yeah, I understand what that's like.
No.
It's a downstairs kind of thing.
Wealth.
Oh no, so am I.
I'm not talking guy who gets a big check signed. I'm talking guy who signs away the big checks wealth.
No, when you live in $1 million community where all the houses are $1 million, that's rich, I think. No? Well, 1%er, you would know.
We were talking during the break on the stream about the Taylor Swift Ticketmaster debacle yesterday. Tay-Tay's tickets went on sale. And
it's a big deal for her. Isn't that power? Going, look what I just did.
You know what that is? That's wealth.
That's
look what you just made me do. What you just made me do. Look what you just made me do. Look what you just made me do. That's a Taylor Swift song.
I hope there's more to the song than that.
There is. It's a
okay.
Dude, listen, as I told Roy Boy when he walked in here yesterday, our promotions guy. All right.
Hey, I don't want to hear about what nicknames you have for him because I don't want to know about all that.
When Roy Boy walked up here and heard me talking about Tay-Tay, I was like, I am not a Swiftie, right? I like Tay, but I'm not a Swiftie. I was not online on Ticketmaster looking to pop out. If somebody would have went, yo, I got a couple of extra Taylor tickets, I might have been like, all right, I'm interested, right? I would go see Taylor. I would bring the lady friend to go see Taylor.
Does anyone ever ask how many boyfriends she's actually had?
I mean, what you worried about her life for?
Because that's what her songs are about.
No, her new ones. In fact, her new ones are much more reflective. Including, I always made the joke for years.
So she reflects back on past boyfriends.
I made the joke for a number of years that, and maybe this was the plan all along. And if it was, I get it, and it's smart. I made when Tay-Tay's every album was like, track number 1, Kevin broke my heart. Track number 2, Bob broke my heart. Track number 3, Bill broke my heart. Track number 3, Pete broke my heart. Right. I came up with the thought that down the line at some point, Tay's going to have to write an album called.
She would never go out with Pete. Too many other people went out with that dude. Good for him, though.
Hey, y'all can say what you want about Pete Davidson. My dude is doing something right. If you say anything bad about Pete Davidson, it's out of jealousy and nothing else. All right. Pete Davidson is the Tom Brady of dating chicks at this point. Anyway, I said for years that Tay-Tay was eventually going to have to write an album called Maybe It's Me, right? Like Taylor. After failed relationship number 80 that all end in an angsty album, I think at some point you got to look and go, maybe it's me. Her most recent song, the one that's on the billboards right now, Lonzo, is Hey, Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. She did it. She did it. She literally did it. I said for years she's going to have to write an album called Maybe I'm the Problem. And the song is literally, hey, hi, I'm the problem. It's me. She did it. You maniacal genius, Tay.
Yeah, still, I'm not paying that much money to go see her.
And that was the question. So the initial rounds of tickets, if you wanted to sit on the floor at a Taylor concert, you were coming $750 off
Taylor
a ticket.
contest is something totally different.
You were coming $750 off a ticket to sit on the floor to see Tay.
Per?
You were coming
$750 per? No way.
Yes.
No way.
And you were coming $500 to sit lower bowl, right? Now, because this is how we are in America, the first round of tickets, because obviously this is how it works, they sold out the tickets within seconds, right? And now they're on the resale market. You know what floor seats are going for right now on the resale market, Lonzo? $3,000 per pop. $3,000 to sit on the floor at a Tay-Tay concert right now.
If you're
$3,000.
If you're paying that much for a ticket and you're still able to live your normal life, I want to be your friend.
Correct. That is wealth. When you joke about me being 1%er, that's wealth. All right. So we asked the question, what artist, what band, what comedian, what are you coming off $750 to go see? Right. Basically for me, I said the list pretty much starts and ends with the Eagles, which I saw here in the Ville back in April, right? I didn't come off $650 for it, but I came off a pretty penny for it. It was me, the lady friend, her mom, her stepdad, my mom, and my little brother went to see it. We didn't come off $750 a ticket, but we came off a pretty hefty penny per ticket to go see them. But it's the Eagles. Like, that's legendary to me. And the Eagles sans Fry, right? So, who, and you can text your answer to 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Who are you coming $750 on a ticket to go see in concert or in performance?
See, the closest I've ever gotten to trying to spend that kind of money or get a loan so I could do that was, I believe the Chiefs, I thought, was the Super Bowl in Atlanta? Or it was somewhere close. The Super Bowl was somewhere close, and talked to my wife about it. And she's like, if you really, really want to go, we'd have to take out a loan. I mean, that's the closest I've, and then I still wouldn't have done it because I won't spend that kind of money. I won't do it. There's no, I can see those bands on YouTube. I can listen to them on Spotify.
Seeing them live is so different.
Yeah. A lot of times when you see bands, especially older bands, you find out that, maybe you shouldn't have went.
I get it. Like, Diesel complained endlessly about seeing Bon Jovi. I liked it. It was fun because to me, it's not, I mean, it's about the music, right? But it's like, this guy provided all of this art. I want to see it live, right? Yeah, I got Spotify. So who you coming $750 off a ticket to go see? Texter says Journey with Steve Perry. Journey with Steve Perry. Let's see, Steve Perry. If Steve Perry, can Steve Perry still sing? I'm at 73. You think Steve, and I'm not saying I wouldn't, I would do the same thing to see Steve Perry one more time with Journey. But is Steve Perry,
what if he wasn't with Journey and he was just singing Oh Sherry like 5 times?
No, I'm not going to see Steve Perry for $750, and I'm not going to see New Journey for $750. But if they did a reunion, I'd do it for sure. Texter says Garth Brooks or a Liverpool game. I did not. I wanted to go to that Garth Brooks show that was up in Charlotte a couple of months back. I'll tell you where I would have paid $750 to go see him play. I'd have gone to see Garth at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, because that moment when he sings Callin' Baton Rouge live in Baton Rouge, that's LSU's fourth quarter song, right? They play that and the LSU fans sing it. To see Garth sing that with a bunch of drunk LSU fans in Tiger Stadium would have been unforgettable. He said, or a Liverpool game. Yeah, we're going to the lady friend and I. We do a long, like a week-long vacation every year. And we were talking about doing England in a couple of years. I would do $750 for sideline tickets for a Chelsea match. 100%. All right. Let me do this. All right, we got a call. Let's get a phone call in here. I don't have my call screen up yet, Lonzo. Who we got on the phone line?
Almost got me, but
Yeah,
I realized my mic was already on. We have Warner.
Warner. Let me get Warner in here real quick, and then we'll come back with that Shane Beamer audio. Warner, welcome to the show, buddy.
I paid the $3K for me and my daughters to sit 50-yard line at the Natty last year, but I'm a Georgia fan that was a freshman with Herschel and went through 40 years, and Indy was just about one of the greatest days of my life.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that, dude. $3K to watch your team for the first time in however many decades go win a Natty. One of the greatest of my life. I'm not mad at that. Man, Warner, hey, listen, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to give me a buzz back. We lost your connection there. It went sour on us, but I get it. $3K, so I've seen 5 national championship games in my lifetime, right?
Braggart.
I covered them. I was working, right? I was working most of them.
Air quotes. I was working.
Lonzo, I've been doing this 15 years. I've had a chance to go to a football game or 1,000.
If you're watching on the stream, you can see that look he just gave me. Like that was.
I know, because you're making me sound like a butthole on my own show.
The look. Do you know who I am?
Okay.
Yeah.
I have watched people celebrate at Natty's. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. If you're a diehard, right?
I guess I'm just either poor, yes, or just such a tightwad that I just can't see spending that kind of money for that.
If it is,
because I know you're paying for a memory. I get the concept, but it's not tangible. It's not something you can hold. It's not something. I mean, you can look back at your ticket stub and say, I remember when I spent all that money and went there and watched my favorite singer fall off the stage and couldn't complete the concert, or saw my team lose. I mean, it's still a gamble.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes more sense for me to do a sports memory than a music one, but also a music one, right? Like my dad, I can't even tell you how much money he paid to bring me and my brother to an Eagles concert on the Hell Freezes Over tour in '96. Dude, I'm glad he did, because I'll never forget that concert.
I love music, and I get that. I really do. And maybe it's just me. I just don't like to spend that kind of money.
Yeah, you're a tightwad. I get it.
That's fine, and I see my son do the same thing. I really don't want to,
man.
I every once in a while I'll go out and spend money, but for the most part, I just don't.
Creating a memory for me, creating a story I will talk about for the rest of my life is absolutely worth the dollars.
We create memories every day on this show, and I don't have to pay for it.
I know that. We get paid to do it. It's a great gig. Brandon said I dropped $1,500 for a World Series ticket last year. Let me tell you what my biggest regret is. I didn't go when I had a chance. I didn't go to the Saints Super Bowl in Miami playing the Colts. Had a ticket. Didn't want to pay. I think I had to pay $900 for it to sit up in the rafters. $900 to go to Miami and sit up in the top. And I didn't go because I'm like, I can stay here and make $500 to work. Biggest botch of my life.
No, you made $500. So
was not in the stadium when Drew Brees won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, did you watch it? Were you able to see it happen? I could have
watched it in person.
Okay, all right.
All right, let's take a break. I'll come back with that Shane Beamer audio, and then Emily Adams of the Greenville News will help us break it down later on the show. He's tightwad. What's the opposite of that?
Loose.
Pretty sure that's something different. We'll find out on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Loose. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Last night, number 1 North Carolina beat Gardner-Webb 72-66. Caleb Love with 20 points. Pete Nance added 18. RJ Davis scored on consecutive possessions down the stretch. He finished with 14 points along with 10 boards as the Tar Heels improved to 3-0. In a top 10 battle, number 6 Kansas outlasted number 7 Duke 69-64. Jalen Wilson with 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Jayhawks Duke led by Kyle Filipowski, 17 points, 14 rebounds, and 1 assist. Catch every Carolina Panthers game live on Classic Rock 101.1. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, and that's your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Travis Benson, owner of CNT Foundations.
With the economy like it is today, you may feel like your world is crumbling. And if your home has a foundation problem, it might be. At CNT Foundations, we can help. We offer no interest financing for up to 2 years for qualified homeowners. That's 2 years, same as cash. Prepare your home now and pay later.
Call 864-581-3341. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
Welcome to Gracie's.
Hi, we're here to watch the game. Got a good table?
No, holler me.
My shoes are actually stuck to the floor.
Come to the table when you get turned loose, and don't order the wings if you ain't got your gallbladder.
Watching the big game should be a pleasure, not a greasy mess. At the Metal Mushroom, you'll find great.
Don't order the wings if you ain't got your gallbladder.
In a way cool, non-greasy atmosphere. The Metal Mushroom Pizza Bakers, on Augusta Street in Greenwich, West End.
This feature sponsored by Dell. Dell Technologies Black Friday event starts now with up to 50% off select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors, plus savings on accessories and free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
So I watched the Jeff Saturday interview with Pat McAfee this morning.
Yep.
What a great interview. You should check it out. It might change your mind a little.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to change my mind is him winning 4 or 5 games on the way out.
You say on the way out, if he wins 4 or 5 games, he ain't on the way out. He wins 4 or 5 games, he'll be back next year.
Muscle and joint pain, increased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Or rodents may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you. Go with the Goldrich.
Here's your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection.
Agreed. He does need to beat a good team, but I'm just talking about the interview. I thought the interview was really good. But McAfee rarely does a bad interview. So
I'm going to go to that Beamer audio, if you don't mind.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, you, 844-FAN phone, 844-FAN-FONE. All righty then. Not entirely sure, but I have seen quite a number of discussions that have popped up surrounding fans of the University of South Carolina. I have seen a lot of discussion about how they're this and that and the other, blah, blah, blah. Well, I wonder if a part of it has to do with the comments of one Shane Beamer. I'm going to play this little clip of audio. It's a couple minutes long. It's longer than we usually go for here on the show, but I think it's something important to talk about. Shane Beamer opened up his press conference yesterday with this. Give it a listen.
And then on another note, I know somehow this has become like a narrative. So I want to go back like 2 or 3 weeks to after the Vanderbilt game, because I believe there's a misconception that I called out our fan base for criticism, which could not have been further from the truth. For those of you that were in the room that night, listen to the soundbite. And I said that there was a small portion of the fan base that when they found out that Marshawn Lloyd was not playing in the Vanderbilt game, probably thought that it was over, that we didn't have a chance to beat Vanderbilt. And I said it's the same group or same mentality that when Luke Doty got hurt in August of last year, that so many people thought our season was going to go in the toilet after that. And I said that we have to get past that as a fan base and find some joy. I did not say that I'm not subject to criticism. I am certainly open to criticism. I'm a head football coach and I'm the leader of this program. So fire the criticism at me, because certainly I can take it. I grew up the son of a head football coach. I understand what this chair entails. I dealt with criticism of my father growing up. I've dealt with criticism as an assistant coach, and now I've as a head coach, you deal with criticism. So I get it. That's part of the job. And by no means was I calling out our fan base. There's an old adage, if you don't know it, look it up, called Murphy's Law, that if something bad is going to happen, it's going to happen. And I've been hearing about that ever since I was an assistant coach here at South Carolina, about curses and things like that. There's no dang curse. All right. And my message, what I was trying to say that night in Nashville, was that we need to get past the negative mindset of just waiting for something bad to always happen here, and that something bad is right around the corner. And that's when I use the expression, find some joy. So I get it. With the way we played against Florida the other night, there wasn't a lot of joy in that, nor do I expect people to find a lot of joy in that. But I also am not going to be on an emotional roller coaster every single week as a head football coach and the leader of this football program either. And I'm going to try and find the positives in everything. And when we have an injury, whether it be to Marshawn Lloyd against Vanderbilt, or Luke Doty last year in preseason camp, or Jordan Strawn and Mo Kaba against Arkansas this year, or Cam Smith, who missed games because of an injury, or CBS or whoever it might be, it's the next man up mentality and not, oh my God, what are we going to do right now because this guy's missing? So that's the message I was trying to make that night in Nashville. Hopefully you guys that were in that room realize that, because apparently it's taken on this whole other narrative that Shane is criticizing the greatest fans in America, which is not the case. So anyway, enough of that.
What's your gut reaction to that, Lonzo? What's your first reaction to that?
Good for him. And he's right. There is that mentality that, oh, here we go again. Oh, here we go again. And you know how you get past it? Stop doing that. Because I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Just stop doing that and stop thinking that way. You know, bad things happen all the time. It's unfortunate. And as far as injuries goes, that's part of any sport that's out there. It's not because they play for South Carolina. It's not because of any curses, because I don't believe in that. It's just, you know, sometimes things happen that way. I just, so people are really going after him for that.
People are reacting to it, right? People are reacting to it because they feel it comes across exactly as Shane said, like he is critiquing South Carolina fans, right? Like he's like, stop focusing on the bad and only look at the good things.
Hey, so what if he is? You know, if he is criticizing, maybe you need to be criticized.
You know, here's the thing. It's like if you have an employee and they screw up 90% of the time, and then you're like, hey, we need to talk about your behavior, and they're like, wait a minute, but look at the 10% of the things I did correctly, right? Why can't we focus on that? You'd be like, no, that's not the thing, though. We didn't bring you in here to do 10% of the things right. We brought you in here to do 100% of the things right, and we know some things are going to go wrong. I know Shane-O said right in the middle. By the way, I still like Shane, all right? I like Shane. Do I think this year is a disappointment for South Carolina? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, all right? I do. But I like the guy, and I think the culture change is important. I think that's the thing he's doing better than a lot of other coaches that a lot of schools are doing in their first or second year. I do, and I think it's fair to look at Josh Heupel at Tennessee. Two schools that were in a very similar position 5 years ago, two schools that brought in two new coaches this year or 2 years ago and are in dramatically different circumstances now. I think it's fair to compare Shane to Heupel and ask the question, how is Tennessee so many miles ahead of South Carolina? But that's another discussion. Say a couple of things. Number one, Shane's right. There's no curse, all right? There's no such thing as a curse. There's no curse here. At the end of the day, you're either a good football program or you're not, and you're going to fix the things that make you not a good football program or you're not. Right. But I do think for Shane to be like, hey, let's focus on the good, right? Like, let's go looking for good things instead of looking for bad things. Dude, you start looking for good things when good things can be seen, right? What's other than being 6-6, what's the good thing? You snap the losing streak against Kentucky. Turns out the Texas A&M win, with all due respect, isn't that impressive, right? Appalachian State beat that team. It's not that impressive. It's a good win for the history of the program. It's a turning point, sure. But if I ask you to give me, outside of the Kentucky win, give me the highlight mark of the season. What is it? I literally was trying to think about that yesterday, right? I heard Mark's segment about grade the program, and I'm like, all right, what would be the highlight segment to give them a higher grade? And my question would be, I don't have one.
He's still doing that? Has he been doing that all year? Maybe. I don't know. I will say this. The highlight is they're bowl eligible.
Right, but that was the expectation.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a highlight. That was the expectation.
No, it's
anything less than that.
It's still a highlight. It's still a highlight. We're still in the Muschamp hangover. It's going to be a couple years until that's completely gone.
But you did that last year too.
Yeah, but I'm coming from a fan perspective. I'm not coming from the perspective that you're coming from. I think, and I'm not that fan that's unrealistic, because there are a lot of those out there for sure. They did what they needed to do. They became bowl eligible. Now, if he doesn't take a step further next year in his third year, then you got a problem.
The Mizzou loss to me, followed by the absolute kicking at the hand of the Gators, kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. That being said, I don't think the South Carolina Gamecock fan base is a bad one, nor do I think that they are looking at, there's a curse. Like Shane's like, find some joy, right? And I get it. There is a time when somebody
But do you get it, though? Do you get it? Because I think the fact you kind of mentioned that he tries to find the positives. There's nothing wrong with trying to find a positive in a negative situation. When we have what you term a bad show, and you point it out after the show, I talk about the good things that happened on the show, and that's not the worst show that I've never ever been on. But you want to dwell on the negative. I think a lot of people want to dwell on the negative, and their losses suck. They absolutely do. But you still can find some positive things, or you could be like everybody else. Oh, we lost. I don't know what we're going to do now.
Yeah,
we done lost.
But Shane Beamer's not a fan. Shane Beamer's the head football coach, right? It's one thing to act that way as a fan, because here's the end of the day. I, as a fan, have very minimal impact on what my football team does. Very minimal impact, right? Head coach has all the impact. I don't need my coach coming out and going, yeah, we got beat 38-6, but like, hey, we did real good on that one fake punt, right? I need you fixing stuff. I need you making changes. Well, why would you dwell on an injury? Because you haven't provided us a reason to believe that without those players, we're going to be okay. I said going into last week, if Marshawn Lloyd don't play, Florida's winning by 2 touchdowns. I was wrong. They won by 3 touchdowns, right? Give me some reason to believe where you find joy. That being said, I like Beamer. Let's take a break. Try to get Emily Adams. May have to push her a little bit back in the show. Either way, we're back for hour number 2 after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
You all right?
Yeah, I like take a breath. Got my own spittle down the wrong tube. Spittle's a terrible word. I hate it.
Why is spittle a bad word? Okay.
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies that are natural, restorative, and long-lasting.
The body's an amazing thing. Trust me. I put mine through a lot.
Exciting new relief is here for pain from arthritis, knee pain, lower back pain, pain in your hips and shoulders.
I'm that guy.
When you Google shoulder pains, my face pops up.
But you don't have to be sidelined by pain anymore. Call QC Kinetics to learn more about biologic therapies.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life.
Call QC Kinetics. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772.
The Greenville Winter Invitational Division I Men's Basketball Showcase. Catch the Clemson Tigers, Carolina Gamecocks, and Vernon Paladins take on the Coors Wellness Arena Saturday, December 17th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Kitty May with special guests Dan Patrick and Keith Hope.
Well, there was so much competition there behind the scenes and the shows, and there was a lot going on, Penny. Now it's revisionist history, where people look back and go, "Oh, you guys must have been treated like kings," and
Like all the ones who were treated kings and bread.
Download and subscribe to Play May, available on the Odyssey app and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Stuck in a cycle of rewashing your clothes? Because you can't remove Tub's laundry odor? When detergent by itself can't cut it, use new Downy Rinse and Refresh. With a breakthrough odor removing formula, it removes odors in one wash, better than the leading value detergent in 3 washes, keeping all your laundry fresh. Now you can break the cycle of rewashing. With Downy Rinse and Refresh.
My favorite thing about the Upstate is the pride I sense in each of you that you're from here. It's evident in all you do. Since 1916, Smith & James Men's Clothing has been an Upstate staple. They are the fabric of the community, literally. And Smith & James thrives because they succeed at their mission to make you look your best. Believe me, if they can make me look good, they can do it for anybody. I'm the before picture. Visit Smith & James at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville. And visit them online.
By the way, I guarantee that I won't make Rob mad or interrupt him next week. I shouldn't guarantee that though.
No, you might call.
Or someone might call off.
Also true. I've just experienced the worst thing. The only thing that is worse, that one person committing biochemical warfare in the restroom.
Effectively, by the way.
Correct. Is 2 of them battling it out at the same time. Wait, it gets better. Then on the radio comes Tommy Two-Tone, and they decide to have a 2-man pooping karaoke party together. So they're singing Tommy Two-Tone together while they are having battle boats against each other. And I did not know if I had time to run down to the downstairs bathroom, so I just was in there like, huh?
I would like to take.
I even whistled for a minute just to let them know somebody else was
If
in there.
they don't care, why would they care? Why would they care?
Didn't care.
I've been in there for those contests before, unfortunately, but I would like to take some credit for the Tommy Two-Tone because I did put it on that station.
And I got no issue with that. I'm down for some Tommy Two-Tone almost any time. But freaking hell, man.
So you didn't applaud as you left? Who was winning?
I honest to God don't know who it was.
Oh, come on.
I don't. Because
come
they
on.
were singing. Like, they weren't talking. I don't know who was in there. I suspect.
He doesn't want to say, but, as soon as he said that was happening, I knew exactly who it was. So I think everyone listening on the stream right now knows exactly who it is. You can look at the time of day. There's an easy way to narrow things down. There really is.
I know, like, I've got the pool of candidates.
I'm not talking about for you. I'm talking about for them.
Oh, gotcha.
You pretend like you don't know. You know.
No, I was just using the urinal, Kevin. So I did not go looking through the cracks of the stalls.
You didn't see the feet when you walked in?
You madman. No, I don't. What do you go look to see who's taking a poop?
I see the feet when I walk in. I look everywhere when I walk into a place. It's called,
I'll let you.
I want to know where the exits are, all that kind of stuff.
I know where the exit is.
Okay.
And I can
So did they, and it was to the tune of Tommy Two-Tone.
That ISIS is not in the crapper waiting for me to expose myself.
No, they'd be up in
in
the ceiling
vulnerable
tiles.
position.
They'd be in the ceiling tiles.
The feet aren't on the.
No, ISIS would be in the. You said ISIS. ISIS would be up there. They wouldn't be in the stall. Jeez.
Yes, Lonzo, I am concerned about a threat of terrorism in the bathroom, but not actual terrorists.
If there were terrorists in the bathroom, they're not going to be hiding in the stalls. They're going to be up in the ceiling tiles.
Which is why I don't understand why people in the chat were like, did you look through the stall to see? No! Who looks through the stall?
You don't look through the stalls. When you walk through, you notice feet underneath. It's just, so you keep your eyes completely affixed on one point when you walk into the bathroom.
Yes, I have a designated objective when I open that door.
Which you can't see that objective until you round the corner.
No.
And while rounding that little corner, or we'll call a stall door or whatever you want
For
to.
those of you who are like, what the hell's going on? Which I'm assuming is everyone.
Yeah, anyone who tunes into the show thinks that. But
Most
anyway.
segments,
Yes.
correct. The worst experience since I started working here just happened. I went into the now. Let me preface this with Lonzo and I have made jokes because when you work in morning radio,
Jenny, who can I turn?
When you work in morning radio, you learn that there are some things, some parts of the morning routine. You know, people get up in the morning and the hardest thing to establish is movement, right? And so some people don't finish that one particular aspect of their morning routine until they get to work. And you just kind of have to get used to that, right? And so every now and then, we'll get on our break and we've got effectively 4 minutes to stand up, stretch, hit the restroom, grab another drink, whatever you got to do on the break. And sometimes, you just got to go. And every now and then, unfortunately, when we walk in there, someone is committing an act of biochemical warfare against us. Some of them much more effectively than others. Okay. Well, during that break at the top of the hour, I went to go use the restroom and then grab another drink on the way back to the studio. I open the door. I get like 3 steps into the restroom and I realize, somebody is in here dropping a weapon of mass destruction. But at this point, it's like, I don't have time to get to the downstairs restroom. And unfortunately, I forgot my gas mask. So I'm just going to have to deal with it, right? And then, due to a variety of context clues, including sounds, I recognize that there are not 1, but 2 men in there who are battle boatsing each other.
Wait, so you recognize that there were, okay, because of distance from,
Right,
okay,
you
all
can
right.
hear 2 people,
Okay.
you know.
We don't have to get into too much detail, but
Right.
it's, distance. All right.
Yes, there were 2 people.
And in radio,
competing.
we also listen for a living, so
Correct.
we notice sounds.
It was very obvious. There was 2 people in there who were battle boating each other. And I'm like, oh no, this is 100% worse than normal, right? And then, just to add on to that pain and suffering that I was experiencing when all I had to do was go to the restroom, over the radio comes Tommy Two-Tone's Jenny, which, again, there's very few parts of my life where I don't appreciate a little Jenny, who can I turn to?
For the kids out there, 8675309.
Correct.
Try it.
Then the 2 people engaged in chemical warfare against each other and being willing to sacrifice the lives of any innocent bystanders who happen to enter the area of engagement. They decide, well, that's not quite enough of an assault against our coworkers. What if we did 2-man karaoke while we're doing it? So they are singing Jenny by Tommy Two-Tone and trying to harmonize with each other while they commit this activity. It was terrible. It was an assault on every sense.
It was 4-part harmony.
The terrorists at Guantanamo Bay don't experience that much torture. And of course, because I'm not a savage animal, I have to wash my hands when I'm done because I'm an adult. I'm like, all right, now I got to wash my hands while I sit there.
How much judgment did Rob just pass in that last 2 minutes of radio, including the end? Because I'm an adult. So much judgment.
Oh yeah, if you don't wash your hands, you're terrible.
You're
a terrible person.
It's high class judgment too, as you can tell.
There's not many things.
How dare you come into this establishment and release gases while I'm trying to be in here?
Dude, listen, I understand that maybe you can't sometimes you wake up in the morning, you're just not ready. All right. It's just not ready. And I get that. And I understand a situation where some folks just, it's like, oh, well, got to do this right now. It's not an option anymore. But waddle downstairs.
I don't even want to go here anymore because if I have to go really bad, I know there's a chance that Rob may come in and judge me. And I just, it makes me want to hold whatever I have to hold till I get home where I can feel safe and not have to worry about those words that will come after.
For the record, good.
See?
Go downstairs where nobody else is in the morning.
That's borderline harassment,
Go down. I'm not saying don't go. I'm saying go downstairs.
No, you said good. I mean, and it was abrasive, and it was.
There are 22 people who work upstairs in this time slot, and literally none that come in until 10 a.m. downstairs. Go downstairs.
That's an exaggeration. He's just saying that so you can't narrow down to who it is. There's not 22 people in this building right now, especially upstairs.
There's 15. There's 15.
You don't even know some of the names of people.
No, I don't need to. I know who's where. I know bodies.
So you're just picturing faces in your head.
Here's the point. Go downstairs. All right. Go downstairs. And when you're in there, don't sing. Don't sing. I don't even want you talking to me, but don't sing. Jenny. No. Take your ass down to your car. Go sit in the front seat. It's on the radio. It's on the radio because it's our radio station.
Here's the most awesome thing. No, it's not. And because I put it on a channel and I'll probably have a management type come and talk to me. And I will, if they do, I will point out the sheer joy that came out of that restroom because I chose that particular style of music that took people back to where they needed to go to help them do what they needed to do. But there's always that one guy who has a problem with things. And he always has the loudest voice.
Listen, don't do that. And if you're going to do that, don't sing. All right, let's get to some sports.
This is going to get back to them. And now,
I don't care.
Now, every time you're in the restroom, they're going to get alerted and they're going to go in and do that because that's what we do here.
Buffalo plays Cleveland this Sunday. This was going to be in Orchard Park, just outside of Buffalo. There is a winter storm coming in.
That's snow. And yeah, that counts. I'm sorry.
And there is a projected 2 feet of snow that could be dumped onto the field before and during this football game. Now, y'all know I'm a big fan of Josh Allen. He lost 2 of his Josh Allens this past weekend, unfortunately. Dome every NFL stadium, please. Dome every NFL stadium. Nobody wants to watch a football game played in and around 2 feet of snow. Nobody. You are taking the best part of that football game and effectively negating them. You are taking the best parts of this football game and going, no. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see speed, agility, passing. No. We just want to see big, beefy men slapping meat in the trenches and nothing else. It's going to be terrible. Texas says false. Everyone wants to see it. No, they don't. Nobody wants to see it. You want to see the spectacle for about 8 minutes. And then you'll be like, all right, well, another off-guard run. Hooray. It's going to be terrible. The best parts of the football game are completely negated in 2 feet of snow. The best part.
Florida guy speaking right now. That's what he is. I have legitimate hate for snow. I do. That's why I'm here in the South now and have been for nearly half my life. But elements are part of the game, and that's what you get when you live in Buffalo. It's going to snow that much in Buffalo. You know who's used to that? People from Cleveland, where it also snows a lot. And you know those fans, they're so liquored up jumping through table stuff, they don't care. That just makes Buffalo more unique.
I got zero interest. None at all. Dome every stadium. Dome every stadium. You want to put a glass roof on them. You want to have a roof that you can open up on sunny days to play. I'm good with that, right? Good with retractable roofs. But a football game in 2 feet of snow, it's going to be terrible. Why would you watch a guy who is, by the way, fallen to 4th in the betting odds in the NFL MVP race and be excited about a game where he's irrelevant? Yay, the best player on the field is completely negated by the elements.
The elephants too, apparently.
Why? That's no fun. That being said, speaking of Josh Allen, who will not be able to gain his second 2 Josh Allens back this weekend. We know, Lonzo, that New York moms are the favorite of one Zach Wilson. But it turns out New York moms' favorite is not Zach Wilson. Well, I mean, maybe he's a favorite of one particular New York mom, maybe a couple. But Zach Wilson's New York mom is not a member of the New York moms who filed a petition on change.org. As of yesterday, there were over 8,000 signatures on a petition of a group called Moms for Josh Allen. Over 8,000 signatures on a petition to tell Josh Allen it's going to be okay. That's the petition. Just tell Josh Allen it's going to be okay. Allen threw the pick during the Sunday overtime game against Minnesota that effectively sealed the deal for the Vikes and was obviously quite disappointed after the game and in a post-game presser. On the petition, it says, "We know it is not easy to be a quarterback for any NFL team, but Josh Allen has taken on the weight of a city's hopes and dreams, in addition to the regular pressures of the game. We have a history unlike any city, and the pain and loss we felt in the past makes watching this Bills team a joy unlike any other. But we want Josh Allen to know that he shouldn't feel the weight of our history. That started long before he was born on his shoulders. We love our QB, win or lose. We love our QB, amazing plays and occasional mistakes. We are so proud of having this young man represent us. It broke our hearts as moms to see the look in his eyes on Sunday. Josh, win or lose, we are proud of you. We know you can do this, and please know we will be okay as a city no matter how the season ends and what happens. And don't forget to eat healthy foods and get lots of sleep and slide when getting those extra yards. We worry. Western New York moms love you to the moon and back." End quote. I love it. I love it. I feel, you know who is in shambles right now? Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson wanted to do nothing more than to love the mothers of New York. And a huge swath of them have turned their back on mother lover Zach Wilson in order to give love and support to Josh Allen. I feel so bad for Zach Wilson. My man was out there comforting and bringing joy and pleasure to the mothers of New York. And now the mothers of New York are organizing petitions to tell Josh Allen it's gonna be okay. It's going to be okay, J.A. The moms of New York want you to remember to eat healthy food, get your sleep, take your vitamins, stay hydrated, and don't worry about them. They got your back. What a tragedy for Zach Wilson. Absolute tragedy. My man just wanted to get back to the mothers of New York, and those mothers turned their back on Zach Wilson. There's a joke there. I'm not going to make it. But at least Josh Allen has the love of New York mothers everywhere. Amazing. All right, let's take a break. I still am looking for your response to that audio we played you from Shane Beamer earlier, right? Like, I like Shane a lot. I really do. I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't know why it is. Like, I get it coming from Clemson fans because you're rivals. And that's how rivalries work. I understand it. What I do not understand is the absolute relentless attack on South Carolina fans for having the audacity of being fans with expectations, right? I'm not saying Shano is attacking South Carolina fans, but I don't understand why he's like, hey, find some joy. It's like, dude, you're 6-6. You're about to give up 50 in the next 2 games, right? You're about to get wiped in the next 2 games. If South Carolina scores 21 points in the next 2 games combined, I'll be shocked, right? And Shane's like, hey, guys, look at the good. Look at the good. It's like rolling a garnet and black truck directly into an oncoming train and being like, hey, but at least the ride is smooth, right? It's like, yeah, but you're driving us into oncoming train tracks. I know, but look at the scenery, right? But there's a train right there. I don't understand why South Carolina fans are being thrown under the bus to some degree by their own coach for having the audacity of raising their expectations of a football program to expecting better than, oh, I guess we're just mediocre always. Well, there's no curse. Really? You're 6-6. It's exactly what you were supposed to do, sure. But you needed some help to get to 6-6, right? You needed A&M to be as bad as A&M is. You needed the top 5 NFL draft pick, Will Levis, to be out to beat Kentucky. You had Mizzou, which was the most competitive of the 3, and they smoked you in your house. You went to Florida, another team that is supposed to be on the rebound, and they kicked the hell out of you. I don't think it's a bad thing that Gamecock fans are frustrated at the fact that they expect more, demand more out of their franchise, and they're just not getting it right now. Is there anybody right now? I'm genuine question that I want the phone lines to open up for. Genuine question right now. Is there anybody, Gamecock fans or otherwise, that looks at what South Carolina is right now and is satisfied with it, is happy with it? They have met my expectations. Sure, they met the expectation of the preseason record. But is there anybody right now that looks at this program and goes, yeah, that's where I expected them to be? A team that goes to Florida and loses by, 32 points? I expected that. No, there shouldn't be. Not a Gamecock fan should be looking at this team and going, we expected this. This is what we thought we would be. I don't think that Gamecock fans need to be attacked for having the audacity of asking more out of their program. It's silly. It's silly. Let's take a break. We'll come back here. We can keep in that discussion. I want to talk a little bit of baseball. The Braves have the NL Rookie of the Year and the NL Rookie of the Year runner-up, and I think that bodes well for that team. We'll talk about what that means for the future and a whole lot more. Lonzo, let's push the button. Got a break that we gotta go to. I should stop. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
State Fan.
Discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup.
Well, that was abrupt.
Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup.
Steven, yes. People who sing in the bathroom, you may very freely add them to the hate list for sure.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show opens Thanksgiving night at Greenville Pickett Speedway. Drive through a nighttime Christmas wonderland as 32 million colors set the sky ablaze, synchronized to the music of your favorite holiday classics. UpstateLights.com. Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.4 million lottery-funded scholarships such as Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow scholarships have been awarded to South Carolina students? Playing for fun is a win for education. Visit SC Education Lottery.
I may have a guitar song picked for the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not positive yet. I got to listen to it a couple more times. And then I'll send it to you. Back into what?
It.
I don't know what it is.
Lonzo.
Can we get back into it?
Get back into it. The live stream is up, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or Twitch. Kevin said, Rob, as a Gamecocks fan, you don't have to take up for us. We are used to Clemson fans and are used to being let down. That makes me so sad. It really does. It makes me sad. And I guess that's the point here is, I'm not saying that any fan should attack another fan like personally, but I'm saying for fans to be upset.
That happens physically, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's stupid. That's overboard, right? It is entertainment at the end of the day. It's entertainment at the end of the day. But it's not bad for Gamecock fans to look at the program right now and go, I'm disappointed with where it is, right? Yes, it's Shane's second year. Yes, there was the COVID year, which was a challenge for everybody. But, like I said, I look at where Florida is, right? It's Billy Napier's first year, and first year at this level. Florida just beat the hell out of South Carolina, right? It's Josh Heupel's second year at Tennessee. Tennessee got smoked by Georgia, but Georgia's the best team in the country, and Tennessee is the next team up back into the top four, back into the playoffs, and justifiably so, beating folks by 50 routinely, right? I don't think that Gamecock fans are bad fans for having the audacity to look at their program and go, this isn't good enough. This isn't where we want to be. We expect better. And that includes out of Shane Beamer. I have not heard Gamecock fans, at least not loudly enough to warrant the conversation. But I have not heard Gamecock fans calling for the head of Shane Beamer yet, right? I've heard it about Satterfield. And to be quite honest with you, I'm 100% on board with that. Marcus seems like a great guy, but this just isn't the spot for him, right? There might be a program elsewhere that's got the type of talent, the type of scheme that Marcus Satterfield's offense would work, but it ain't South Carolina, unfortunately. But nobody, at least not loudly enough to warrant the conversation, is calling for Shane Beamer to go. They're saying, you got us pointed in the right direction, but we're not picking up any steam in that direction, right? We're moving in the right direction, but it's a creep.
So be quiet, Shane Beamer, and say what we want you to say.
No.
We don't want you to be genuine. We want you to say what we think it should be, not what you think it is.
No, but the comments of find joy, I'm not saying Shane Beamer told Gamecock fans, shut the hell up.
I don't
But it felt like
understand
it.
why you have a problem with someone telling someone to find joy. You don't tell me to find joy. I'll find joy when I want to find. I don't want to find joy.
Now, if I slapped you in the mouth and then told you find joy in that, you'd be like, no, I'm going to find joy in beating the hell out of you.
Oh, yeah. There's a positive in that. There absolutely is. Then you will have gotten into your first
Right,
fight.
but I can't fight.
So good for you.
I can't fight Shane Beamer. Right? I can't fight where the Gamecocks are. I can't beat down
This seems
where the
to be-
Gamecocks are. The only thing
seems-
I have is to look at this program and go, it's not good enough right now.
If you are a person who gets mad when someone tells you to find joy, then you need joy. You absolutely need joy. How is that offensive? Dude, you gotta get outside yourself and listen to this and think about how it sounds.
You are taking the situation without context, right? Taking the situation without context.
You brought it down to its simplest
ask you-
thing.
here, let me give you
You
this.
said he said find joy.
let me give you
I'm
this.
going with what you said.
Let me give you this. If your house burned down, right? If the compound burned down and somebody showed up and they were like, here's a box of donated recycled clothing, so you got that, and here's a big box of canned goods for you to eat. Now find joy.
You know what? I would find joy. You know why? Because if my family wasn't in there, at least they're still alive. I'm still alive. I will find joy in the midst of trial.
Well,
That's
good-
what you're
good-
supposed to do.
Good on you. Good on you.
And some of it has to do with our life philosophies.
Sure.
Let's put it that way.
Sure. I would like to point out, I'm a realistic. I was going to say I'm not a negative person. I'm a realist. And the reality of the situation is where the Gamecocks are right now is not where they were expected to be. Did they hit their expected record? Sure. Sure they did. Sure they did. But like I pointed out, Texas A&M sucks. That win is not as big as we had hoped it would have been. And Kentucky played without one of the best what was expected to be one of the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks in college football this year. Right?
I was going to say, yeah, because that Kentucky team, man, they're on fire.
Vandy.
Climate.
Oh, man. Find joy, Kentucky fans. Texter says, Rob, Shane Beamer should repeat the mantra that good is the enemy of great. He sounds like his goal in Columbia is to build the Arkansas of the East. Meh. I'm actually good with that text. I agree. I am not looking for a team that is 7-5 every year. It's not what I want. South Carolina is unlike a lot of other schools that are in kind of the range that they're in right now. They have got the facilities. They have got the money. They have got the environment. They have got the conference backing. There's no reason this team is a perennial 7-5, 6-6 team. And my question would be, do you feel like there was progress made between last year's team and this year's team? The answer to me is not really. Not really. It doesn't feel any different than it did last
If
year.
you look at record, I can see why you would say that. But if you look at how they played on most games, there's a couple games where there's a lot of regression, like last week and against Tennessee. But most games, I think you can see a difference. Absolutely.
When they went to Kentucky and got a win, that's great. I would argue South Carolina should be better than Kentucky every year.
And they used to be.
Every year.
They used to be.
Right.
The bottom feeders used to be always Kentucky and Vandy.
Yeah.
Always.
Texas said, I think 6-6 will be well below expectations for South Carolina. That's stagnation, not improvement. Who have they beat this year that's any good? Maybe Kentucky, but they also lost to Vanderbilt. That's from JT and Greer. Appreciate that text, JT and Greer. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's kind of the direction that I'm looking at, right? The A&M victory is not impressive to me.
All I can say is I think there's enough Gamecock hate on the station already, and I am not going to be a party to that.
No.
I'm going to find joy wherever joy needs to be found.
I'm actually defending Gamecock fans here, right? I am defending Gamecock fans. Like I said, I don't think Shane Beamer intentionally attacked them. But I do think that Shane Beamer has a lack of
there's no
empathy for the
attack
team.
there. That's what I don't. This is victimization. You're looking to be a victim if you are offended by what he said. You want to be a victim. Oh, look at me. How dare he come at me that way? He said, be happy. That's all. That's all. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to find joy. Yeah, it sucks to lose, but it's okay to be happy.
There are times and places.
What
where
kind of negative world do you want to live in?
There are times and places where it's okay to look at somebody and go, you know what? I hope you find happiness. There are. And then there are times and places to me where it's inappropriate, right? When I'm trying to not use an example I have at the tip of my tongue, but it's to me, it's because it's dramatic, but it makes sense, right? When my old man passed, if one more person within the first week would have been like, well, Rob, find happiness. Dude, shut the hell up. Shut up. I'm not happy. I'm not happy in this situation. This is a terrible situation. Things are bad right now. I don't like it. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this situation. The only thing I'm looking to do is get the hell out of this situation.
You're right. It's not a good comparison. You shouldn't compare a death of a loved one to a team not meeting expectations.
I understand.
It's a bad analogy.
The point that I'm making is there are some times when you think saying find joy is good advice, and it's not. Because that just telling someone find joy is like if somebody, I don't know, if somebody finds themselves in a terrible situation, you're like, we'll just fix it. Well, obviously I would if I could. I would obviously fix this, but obviously I can't fix it. And the only way to fix it is to focus on the things that are wrong and try to knock them out one at a time. The only things you can focus on, we've had this conversation on the Views from Mint Street podcast. What a terrible time to promote that.
There's never a terrible time. Make sure you download the latest. Will be up later on today.
Yes, it will. The only way to get better, to progress, to go forward is to focus on what is broken, not what is good. What's good works. What's broken is what hinders you, is what slows you down, is what prevents progress. So yes, do I focus on the negative? Yes, but that's because the negative needs to be fixed, and you can't fix a thing without paying attention.
So Shane Beamer needs to come out and say, this is broke, this is broke, this is broke, this is broke. We're trying to fix it.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody.
Yes.
No.
If I go to my car and I got a flat tire,
If
I don't
you are
call
that-
Goodyear to go, good job on the 3 that aren't flat. I go, that one's flat. I got to fix it so I can go somewhere.
If you're that coach saying that, you're out the door. You're not going to be there very much longer. Positive messages really bother you, no matter who the person is. And I don't get that. I really don't.
If you go out and you have if somebody punches a hole in one of your tires and you're sitting there in the parking lot calling a tow truck, calling a ride, this, that, and I walk outside and go, Lonzo, why don't you focus on the 3 tires that are full? You're going to be like, dude, shut up.
He's going to keep pushing
What's
this
your
analogy, but none of them ever work.
This
I mean,
one works.
but at
This
least
one works just fine.
you're trying really hard, and I appreciate
The Gamecocks have a flat tire, and Shano's telling you to focus on the 3 that have air in it.
Eventually, you're going to give me that look like you need to stop talking. So I'm waiting for that look.
No, I got a caller for that. You know,
You did.
here's what I'm saying. I'll analogize one further. If somebody punches a hole in Lonzo's tire, and Lonzo is sitting outside, and Lonzo's waiting on a ride in a tow truck to get that fixed, and there's another employee outside that says, hey, Lonzo, why don't you focus on the 3 tires? And I walk out there, I would tell that guy, shut the hell up. Dude, you're not helping him fix the problem.
Here's the thing. If Rob comes out there and says, hey, your tire's messed up, and I say, Rob, can you give me a ride? And Rob says yes, then I get to spend more quality time with Rob. Now, it stinks that my tire got punctured, but it'd be taken care of. But Rob and I get more bonding time. And listening to the show today, you see why we need that.
Lonzo, you're a Hallmark card with legs is what you are.
It's always a goal of mine to
You're a
write for them
Hallmark-
someday.
A Hallmark card with legs is what you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a break. We come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Efforting Emily Adams. Emily is caught up in some stuff, probably because she's getting screamed at by Shane Beamer to write better articles. I'm just kidding. For the record, I like Shane. I think Shane's doing a good job. I think it's a slow-moving job. I think it's probably taken longer than I'd like. I just didn't like this particular phrase. I didn't like the way this conversation was framed. Like the last group that you want to tell shut up and enjoy is the people who support you, right? But maybe it's just me. All right, your reaction, South Carolina fans, your thoughts. My name is Rob Brown. He is Mr. Feelgood. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Also known as Doctor. Did you receive a text?
Sure did.
You know, we go like 3 years without giving anything away. And then suddenly, maybe if someone realized what a pain in the butt it is to get to said thing, they would, Send me home on insubordinate. Someday my bluff will be called and I'll be like, what did I say? Sorry, I don't want to have 10,000 windows up because that tends to crash computers, but you know. Glad you called me, you know, feel good and not Mr. Brightside, because I still don't get that.
I'm Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, I don't get why people are so into that song. It just makes that's just wrong, Kevin. You're right, Hudson. I just don't get it. And Lisa, I love you, but quit coming in on the end of things and thinking that you know what's going on, because you don't, because you would be on my side.
Be nice, Lonzo.
By the way, this just started today, so might be
Emily at 11.
Okay, might be overreacting to a certain degree. So
regarding
how it was worded,
I gotcha.
Made it look like we missed it.
Yeah,
which we would have. But I don't check that thing every day because we went for a couple years without having anything. And now, I mean, if I need to check it every day, then I need to start doing that. We haven't missed any. So this is for today, and we also have them tomorrow. And just to spite the guy downstairs, if you are listening right now on the stream, we're going to give away tickets in the last break of the show. Because he ain't the boss of me. Unless, of course, Rob decides to give it away some other time. But, you know. Okay, that's why he's trending, but that doesn't, I mean, you know, okay. He's been dead for a while. Why?
Who?
Burgess Meredith, which will not be on. Oh, you know who he is. You're a bum, Rock.
Ah.
He was also the Penguin. He was in a lot of stuff.
All right, Emily Adams from the Greenville News will be joining us in the at the top of the hour. So, well, yeah, I guess the next segment. The top of the hour. Looking forward to that.
I found joy in your correction.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad. That's what a Hallmark card with legs would do.
How much do you think a Hallmark card writer makes? I need to look that up.
I mean, I've heard that. Like, is there a person who writes?
What do you think? There's an
Hallmark
AI program at this point? Possibly.
No, I'm
maybe.
saying, is that a job?
Someone has to write them.
Is Hallmark card writer a real?
I would put it akin to comic book writers. They write the comics and someone draws the card out, and it's a team effort.
Haven't we used all the phrases by now?
No, because new phrases happen all the time, and lingo changes, slang changes. So there's always a way you maybe rework a classic, but you're doing it in a way to where today's youths will understand it.
The youths, Your Honor, the youths. It's a trick question. God, Marissa Tomei. Love Marissa
Mona
Tomei.
Lisa.
That's right. All right. It's enough about that. It's enough. It's enough South Carolina stuff, right? Like I said,
It's not really though, because we're going to have Emily Adams on.
That's true. Until the next segment where we do more South Carolina stuff. Let me answer the question before. Well, it's already been asked by a lot of people, and it's going to be very popular fodder on talk shows around the world today. No.
Is there Jenny involved in this fodder?
Was trying to come up with a joke there, and I just can't do it. Can't do it. So on to topic number 2.
You're going to miss me next week.
Probably. No.
But you're going to get a lot of
bro. No. There is only the smallest fraction of a possibility that Clemson's going to the playoff, right? Is it a possibility? Maybe. I mean, TCU loses.
I would say infinitesimal, but I can't say that word.
You just said it-ish.
There's a B at the end. That's because there's not supposed to be, but there is supposed to be a P or a Z in Clemson.
There is only the smallest possible possibility that Clemson gets back into the playoffs. You are big Baylor/Iowa State fans at this point. I think you are a big Ohio State fan or Michigan fan, in that you need one of those two teams to win the Big Ten showdown by about 50, right? To just absolutely destroy the other team. You are, if you are a Clemson fan and want back into the playoff, you are an agent of sheer chaos for the next 2 weeks, right? Just absolute sheer chaos. You would like to see Georgia lose a regular season game, though they won't do that. You need Ohio State or Michigan to beat the other by about 100. You need TCU to lose, not the Big 12 championship game. Well, really any game, but you need them to lose to either Baylor or Iowa State, so they go plummeting. You would honestly, right now, this one's going to be rough. If you're a Clemson fan, you're a big South Carolina fan this weekend, right? You want Tennessee to lose at South Carolina in Columbia. You are a big fan of Texas A&M at the end of the year, because I think LSU probably needs another L to ensure that, I think a 2-loss SEC champion would go in ahead of Clemson. I do not think a 3-loss SEC champion would go ahead of Clemson. You would love to see LSU lose to Texas A&M at the end of the year. And don't tell me they can't. I mean, I don't think they will. Don't tell me they can't, right? You'd like to see LSU lose to A&M at the end of the year, followed by knocking off Georgia in the SEC championship game. Because now not only did Georgia lose an SEC title game, but they lost it to a 3-loss team out of the West. And you're a big UCLA fan against USC. And I think you need, if not all, the majority of those things to happen if you want in. The reality is the loss to Notre Dame cost you that playoff spot. It just did. The path to get back into the top 4 requires a lot of assistance. A lot of assistance from around the rest of college football. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think you're going to get it. I don't think you're going to get it. Can they play there? No. Clemson cannot play their way back in, right? Win out, you're in. No. Unfortunately not. Now, you do have to win out to give yourself a shot. When I say win out, I'm talking
you still gotta win.
North Carolina in the ACC title game. But winning by itself all year long, beat Notre Dame, that would have got you in. You'd have knocked off Notre Dame, you'd be in right now. But unfortunately for you, winning by itself is not good enough. I just laid out your path, and there are a lot of situations you need to play out a very specific way in order to get there. It's Powerball at this point, right? It's Powerball odds at this point. You're playing the lotto, and the odds of that aren't great. So you're going to hear a lot of folks, and I'm going to say this nicely. You're going to hear a lot of folks over the next 3-4 days as we head towards the second to last, the penultimate college football regular season weekend. You are going to hear a lot of people talking about how Clemson still got a chance. I'm going to tell you, do they? Sure. Sure they do. But they are going to need a hell of a lot of help. Is it likely that Georgia loses a regular season game? Not really. Is it possible LSU loses another regular season game? I mean, maybe. Texas A&M, but probably not. Is it probable here? I'll even ask the Big Ten guy. Hey, Lonzo, are you taking Ohio State or Michigan by -6.5 or better? I'm going to say no, right? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that's a tight game. Alabama's not losing another regular season game. They only got Auburn left. Tennessee's not losing another regular season game. With South Carolina up, I mean, that's a win for them. There's just too much that you need to go your way that the chance they all happen is really small. So don't get caught up in hours and hours of can they get there. Just prep yourself. It is what it is. Should have beat Notre Dame. That's what it comes down to. Beat them and you're in, but you did and you're not.
Find joy in the possibility that they're
joy.
still kind of alive.
Find joy. You're going to the Orange Bowl. Find joy in that. Let's take a break. Emily Adams joins us next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, stream, hang tight. I got to give Alonzo a number, and then we shall be right back.
He ain't too bright, but he sure is happy. Let's talk about me. I wasn't talking about Rob, by the way.
And I didn't assume you were, because I am bright.
I'm completely shocked that he's actually listening, because he's very focused when he's doing something. And like most people, he ignores me. You know why? Because my positive message.
That's why.
That's why. It's my
I'm
positive.
tired of the damn positivity.
Get that stuff out of here.
Ain't got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
QC Kinetics in the first break.
And 4.
I was on the air with Charlie James last night, and he said there would be no green stuff on his Thanksgiving table. Do you have green stuff on your Thanksgiving table? Like what?
Broccoli, like
yeah, we usually have broccoli casserole.
salad.
It's
You don't have
pretty
a
good.
salad?
No, salad for Thanksgiving? That's like anti-Thanksgiving. Yes, it is. That goes against the point of Thanksgiving.
I'm too manly for Leafs.
No, I had salad last night.
What's the hate on salad?
No, you don't need. Come on, it's not supposed to be healthy.
What?
It's not supposed to be healthy on Thanksgiving. Defeats the purpose. There's something wrong with you, man. Today, there's something wrong with you, big time. People do not put salad on the table at Thanksgiving.
You don't have spinach. Little cream spinach.
By the way,
you don't have broccoli and cheese.
No, that's not salad. And if cream spinach is cooked, it's no longer salad, it's cream spinach. We're talking about, you said salad, like a salad bowl, big tossed salad with maters and greens. And
I do this thing where we bring people in 75% of the conversation we're having. And I'm bringing Emily in for this because I feel like she's going to be Team Rob on this one. Lonzo said that one of our other hosts said there would be nothing green on his Thanksgiving Day plate next Thursday, to which I said, that is silly and ridiculous. And it sounds like one of those things where it's like, I'm too manly for lettuce, which I don't understand at all. Emily Adams from the Greenville News, who covers South Carolina athletics, joins us every week here on the program and does so here as well. Emily, I'm going to assume you're working with me on this one. There's gonna be some veggies on the Thanksgiving Day plate, right?
No. See, you're doing that
Will
thing.
you let her talk?
You're doing that
Will
thing.
you stop being
We
rude?
were specifically talking about salad, and you said you have salad. You said
greens.
You said salad. By the way, you can go back on the stream and see it. He said salad.
You said
salad.
Charlie said there
salad.
would be nothing
Right,
green.
right. And then you said salad. Salad is anti-Thanksgiving.
Will you
You
stop
do not put healthy foods on a
rude
Thanksgiving table.
To our guest, Emily Adams, are there greens on your Thanksgiving plate?
I will say my family might be unusual because my dad's side of the family is super Italian, so we have like lasagna for Thanksgiving a lot of the time. And there usually is like a nice tossed salad on the table. I think that's fine. You need a little balance, when all the food's that heavy. So
a little balance.
I feel like you've been bringing me in to settle arguments a lot here, but I feel like I'm on your side on this one.
A little balance, Lonzo.
It doesn't mean you won. It does not. I'm going to back off now. I'm going to go over here and do something, but it doesn't mean you won.
Go eat a salad. It's good for you.
What's the point?
Give you a little
Are
balance.
you trying to make a point here?
Emily Adams covers the Gamecocks for the Greenville News here on the Rob Brown Show every single week to talk Gamecock football, basketball, baseball, whatever it might be. And obviously, as we wrap up football season, Emily, I'm going to bring you in, speaking of debate, to another discussion that we were having a little bit earlier on the show. And it was the opening to Shane Beamer's press conference yesterday, where he said, there's been this narrative that I attacked South Carolina fans, but that's not what I did. What I said was, we need to find a little joy, etc. Emily, my thought was South Carolina fans being unhappy with where the program is right now is understandable, and I get it, and I understand the disappointment, and I've got no problem with criticism where they are right now. It was the first time that I kind of felt like Shane Beamer felt like he was on the defensive a little bit What was your takeaway from the opening of his presser yesterday? Did you feel like he was kind of being defensive there, or did he have a point?
Yeah, that was very interesting. I thought it was maybe a little bit of both, honestly. I think he definitely did have a point to some extent, just because, I mean, that find some joy comment just was kind of unfortunate, I think, because it got so, flipped on him after last week, and understandably so, I think. But forgive me, I'm just getting over a cold. But I think the thing there was that he was saying, I'm open to the criticism, but I'm tired of people counting us out before we begin. And I get that. I mean, I think that there's a reality to that, but I think he also understands at this point in the season that the criticism is not unwarranted. I don't think he's happy with where they are. I don't think he wanted to be 6-6 again, which, is what looks like is going to happen. So I think he's in a tough spot right now.
That was kind of how I took it too, right? Because, and we talked about this, 6-6 at the beginning of the year to me was like the lowest acceptable reality, right? You can't be worse than last year record-wise. And granted, record-wise is only one way that we measure a football team, but anything worse than that was going to be bad. I think this team got even dealt kind of a favorable hand with Will Levis being out for the Kentucky game, with Jimbo Fisher's Texas A&M being embarrassingly bad. That meant that games like Mizzou and Florida really became more the yardstick by which we could measure this team. And frankly, they failed at both. And not just failing at Florida, but getting absolutely run off the field at Florida. I don't think it's a problem that Carolina fans are looking at this and going, look, it's disappointing, right? Like, we got built up, Buttercup, and then let right back down. I had somebody ask me earlier, like, what is Shane supposed to say, right? And it was, to me, I kind of compared it to if you go outside of the parking lot after work and you find your car's got a flat tire, some of you, one of your coworkers coming out and going, well, Emily, why don't you focus on the 3 tires that aren't flat, right? Well, the one is the problem. That's the problem here. And that's the one we got to talk about to get it fixed, which is why it kind of felt a little defensive. And out of Shane Beamer, who is a fun, loose, off-the-cuff, emotion on his sleeve guy, and I like that about him, it just was a little off-putting, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's some discomfort right now, honestly. I was just saying this yesterday, too, that, I think at this point, it really is. It's a foregone conclusion that Sat is not going to be here next year. I think everybody knows it. The program, I'm sure, knows it, and we're just sort of in this weird holding pattern right now where, he can't say out loud the thing that everyone knows because, it's not something you can say with 2 games left in the season. But, at the same time, no one's going to be satisfied until he does say it. So, I think again, he's in a tough position. And I don't know if he's doing it perfectly. He's certainly, has things, answers, the way that he reacts to things that I, am not always a huge fan of, but I think overall he's doing the best that he can with sort of the unfortunate situation he's dealing with right now.
That's fair. Emily Adams of the Greenville News joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate, as she does every Wednesday to talk Gamecock football. Let's go back to that game against Florida last Saturday, Emily. I said last week when we were making our picks that if Marshawn got off the bus and played, South Carolina would be in a football game. If Marshawn Lloyd was unavailable, as much as I like Jaheim Bell trying to shoulder the load, that they would be in a world of hurt. And that ended up being the case. But even I, as somebody who expected an L this weekend, did not expect to have 0 offense without Marshawn Lloyd. What went wrong?
Gosh, I mean, what didn't go wrong?
Fair enough.
Better question. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I think I don't even know that Marshawn was the problem, honestly, because I think, having CBS, Christian Dale-Smith hurt as well, definitely did not help. They lost that sort of secondary true running back that they, had against Vandy that allowed them to kind of work around Marshawn not being there. So I think that definitely hurt. But I mean, and Shane said this after the Florida game, at this point in the season, in an SEC football season, nobody's healthy. No team is healthy. Florida was missing their number one receiver on Saturday, and clearly didn't have a problem on that front. So I think the injury thing can't really use. I think that excuse or that explanation just doesn't hold up at this stage. I mean, the defense was a mess in the first half. They looked like they were not prepared for Florida to run the ball, which, anyone who's watched a minute of Florida tape this year should have been prepared for. I think Shane said on his teleconference they weren't expecting Florida to run tempo as much as they did, and so kind of got caught on their heels with that. The offense couldn't do anything on the ground, could do very little in the air. I mean, yeah, it took Kai Kroger to DK Joyner to put any points on the board. So yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a real all around letdown from everybody except Pete Lembo's guys.
What's interesting, Emily, is back at the beginning of the year, and I'd say even through the midway part of the year, right? Like after the A&M win, there was this renewed sense of energy. And then after the Kentucky win, there was this renewed sense of energy. And even pointing out that, A&M's not that good. Kentucky was without a first-round quarterback draft pick and Will Levis that game. There was still this renewed sense of energy and like, okay, even if it's not, we're not a steam train pushing ahead, we're at least on the right track. It kind of feels to me, as somebody who engages with Gamecock fans every day, like Florida kind of took all the wind out of that sails, and it doesn't help when now you've got one of the best, in my opinion, 2 or 3 teams in the country in Tennessee coming to your house, especially when you couldn't get Mizzou in your own house. I don't know how the hell you stop Kentucky. And then you got a Clemson team that this past weekend kind of looked like they found another gear, et cetera. What a terrible time for South Carolina fans to kind of feel like the energy went away a little bit with not just the loss to Florida, but a complete beatdown.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing too, is I think, had they had that Missouri win, lost to Missouri, but had the win at Florida, I mean, I think going 7-5 would really have kind of kept the hope alive for the fan base a little bit. And I mean, the Tennessee game is sold out this weekend. Like, I don't want to pretend that it's, the fans are checked out all of a sudden, but, at the same time, I think people really had to sort of come to terms after the Florida loss with the fact that this team was going to go 6-6 again and going to go to, one of the lower tier bowl games again. And in fairness, year 2 of a program that had 2 wins 2 years ago. So, I think last year put the bar pretty high for a second-year coach, but at the same time, the frustrations, the criticism, I think all of that is totally warranted at this phase, because this team was supposed to be better than it is right now. And that's just the unfortunate reality that we're looking at.
And that was kind of my takeaway too, right? Was like it and I guess that's probably why Beamer's comments kind of felt a little off-putting. Is it almost felt like he was saying, this is not a spot where we should be criticizing. We should be, focused on the positive. The find joy comment, Lonzo was defending it. And it kind of, I'm not going to say offended me, but it kind of bothered me a little bit, because I'm like, in what, right? Like, what am I supposed to be looking at with this team and saying I'm satisfied by? Is it the A&M win? Because that's not as impressive as we thought it was going to be. Is it the Kentucky win? Because that's not as impressive as we hoped it was going to be in the grand scheme of things. And so to me, Gamecock fans criticizing this program, like I said, it's totally justified. And my thought would be, all right, Shano, like, if you're going to tell me to find joy in these last 2 weeks, when we are going to be double-digit underdogs in both games, and one of them go on the most hostile road trip we'll take all year, every other year, you better give me something to inspire that joy. What is it going to be?
Yeah. And I think, from the fans that I've just sort of heard from and observed, online and whatnot, I think that's a very similar place to where a lot of South Carolina fans are. Shane is a little coach speaky. There's no way around that. And unfortunately, I think now is that he doesn't necessarily have like specific answers to here's how we're going to fix the offense with 2 weeks left. I think, again, it's that situation where, everybody knows what the answer is. The answer is that this offense has done everything that it is capable of doing. Like this, we've seen the ceiling already. I feel pretty confident in that at this point. And he can't say that out loud. Your head coach can't go into the media and say, yeah, well, we've done all we could as an offense, and Marcus is going to get fired in 3 weeks, so we're just trying to finish out the year. He's got to give them something, but I don't think they have solutions right now. I think they're not going to have them until next year, and maybe not a year after that when Beamer gets a full recruiting class in. So, I think again, it's a really tricky spot to be in at this point in the year with the 2 games that they have left on the schedule left.
I think that is very, very fair. Let's look ahead to this weekend coming up against Tennessee. And I mean, it's kind of one of those games that as a fan you hate. I think we all hang on for the miracle upset. Those types of games are what make college football fun. But if you're looking at this game rationally and practically, I'll put it this way, Emily. The lady friend is a Gamecock fan. She asked me a couple of weeks ago if we could go to Columbia for this game. And I was like, I mean, if you want to, but it's going to be a miserable car ride home. What's your thoughts on this game? I mean, is there any way that the Gamecocks can even make it feel competitive?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I expect this game to look pretty similar to the Georgia game. Unfortunately, because that wasn't a fun game to watch for anyone. Even Georgia fans, I don't think that game was fun for. And I think this week, there is nothing that I think this defense can do at this point to slow down Tennessee's offense. And in fairness, that's true of literally every defense in college football, other than Georgia. No one can stop what they're doing right now. I think the offense might look a little better than it looked against Georgia, just because Georgia's defense is Georgia's defense. But I mean, I'm not expecting them to put up 28 points or anything. I would say, 17 to 21 on the high end. I think it's going to get away from them early, which, has been kind of the death knell the last couple of times. Georgia got up, 21-0 early. Florida got up 24-0 early. And so, that they really struggle when they're playing from behind. And they're going to be playing from behind for the vast majority of this game, just because Tennessee's offense is so difficult to keep out of the end zone.
Emily Adams is the Greenville News beat reporter for the South Carolina Gamecocks as they get set to host Tennessee this weekend, an absolute juggernaut of a program. Do we have an update on Marshawn Lloyd? Is there a chance that he will be back this weekend? I mean, I got to think that, to be cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason. If you want to keep this game even respectable, it would be a healthy dose of grind out the run between CBS, if he's available, maybe get Jaheim Bell a couple of touches in short yardage situations. Do we have any update on both of those running backs?
Yeah, nothing definite, unfortunately. Kind of some of the same, they're still limited. They're practicing, but not at full capacity. They're questionable. We won't rule them out, but we'll see. Again, I know the thigh contusion that Marshawn's dealing with is no joke, but it's crazy that a bruise is having this much of an impact. And, with CBS, he's just been so hurt on and off all year. I don't think he's played one healthy game, and it has just re-aggravated the sort of lower leg injury that he's been dealing with, every couple of weeks. So I would be surprised. I would be more surprised to see CBS play than Marshawn. But I'm not confident in either of them.
There you have it. That is Emily Adams. She covers the Gamecocks for the Greenfield News and joins us every Wednesday. Emily, I know you got a lot going on. I'm sorry you're feeling bad. I hope you get to feeling very much better before Saturday so you can enjoy the last night at Willie B.
Yeah, it should be fun. That's the nice thing, at least at the very least, pregame should be fun. We've got the senior night festivities happening with another sold out Willie B. So, that'll be nice, a nice little recognition for this group that's been through the Muschamp and now the Beamer eras.
Emily Adams, noted fan of a salad at Thanksgiving dinner. We appreciate it, girl. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Anytime. That is Emily Adams joining us here on the Rob Brown Show.
She found joy in the situation.
She did.
Right.
She did. Has nothing to do with football, but she did.
You didn't chastise her. It does have to do with football.
I don't chastise people.
How does that not have to do with football?
I don't chastise people for finding joy. I chastise people when they tell other people to find joy in what is obviously a terrible situation.
You know what would bring me joy?
Going to break?
Yes, because I really have to go to the restroom.
Are you sure about that? You know what's been happening in there today.
I hold my breath. I mean, I can.
Jenny,
yeah.
Who can I turn to?
I wish I had it queued up again.
Two people in here taking a number 2. All right, back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Juicy.
Be right back. Stream. Don't go nowhere.
Explore big with Home Trust Bank. Ready for what's next? Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Tis the season.
Season for what?
For the Upstate Holiday Light Show.
Where's that?
At Greenbelt Big and Speedway. Millions of incredible lights, great Christmas music, 600-foot light tunnel, even a drive-through petting.
Good morning, Trey.
Do you need tickets? Sure, but fast passes are available. Plus,
I hope you found joy in this morning.
Morning, Trey. I hope.
I'm going to go in the office and find every Joy song I can find and just play it. Or just ABBA. Because, I mean, you know.
I mean, if ABBA doesn't spark joy, nothing will.
Exactly. If you're blasting some Fernando in the nerd office, you can't help but smile. There was something in the air that night. It wasn't right. Fernando. I won't play Dancing Queen, though, because then we won't get any work done.
You know me, I'm a dancer.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.4 million lottery-funded scholarships such as Life Hope and Palmetto Fellow scholarships.
And I quote a Facebook friend, Michael, who says, absolutely not. Thanksgiving is not the time for healthy crap. That's the one day we eat fat for the day. Wonder how Mark and Diesel are faring on their upset picks. Last time I was on that show, they were both at 0. Hadn't picked one right yet.
Thanks again to Emily Adams for joining us here on the radio show. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the fan upstate, Rob, and the joy bringer himself, Lonzo. 844-FAN phone, 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663.
Guaranteed to make you frown and then smile. You choose which way you want to go first.
Texture says, Rob is a Carolina fan. I find joy in women's basketball. Speaking of, big one this
Championships.
Sunday. Championship. Speaking of this Sunday, how about number 1 versus number 2? The USC women taking on Stanford, number 2 in the country. Last night had Kansas and Duke in a tournament game. Kansas edges out the freshmen of the Blue Devils. Great college basketball going on right now. And obviously, college football is king, but you know, if you're a March better, if you're a bracketologist, now's a great time to be getting those early lessons. Texture says, I don't think Tennessee would have beaten Notre Dame at night in the wind and the rain. The SEC doesn't play defense except Georgia. The playoffs are not the SEC Invitational. I'll tell you right now, Alabama's defense remains stout. LSU's defense is criminally underrated right now. Tennessee doesn't really. You're not wrong about that. But when they're scoring 60 a game, and you're right, maybe the elements would have come into effect against a team like Tennessee at Notre Dame. But y'all love elemental football as much as you do. That's part of it, right? That's part of it, like it or not. So it was a very simple premise for Clemson. And it's probably a simple premise for everybody in Power 5 football. Win out, you're in, right? Win out, you're in. There are 4 undefeated teams in Power 5 football right now, and those are the 4 teams that are in right now. Win out, and you're in. Win that game. If you're Notre Dame, you have directly eliminated 2 teams from the playoffs, Clemson and North Carolina. Now, both of those teams still got a chance, but now your chances rest in the hands of somebody else. Texter says, Rob, 7-5 is a trap you can quickly find yourself in for 3 decades. It is, and here's why. 7-5 is that record, especially if you've been bad for a few years, right? 7-5 is that record that you look at and you go, hey, what an improvement. And then you go 7-5 again, and you can find another reason why that's acceptable. And 7-5 again, and find another reason that that's acceptable. And you're willing to sit there for 3 or 4, 5 years. The problem is, once you go 7-5 enough times, or 6-6 enough times, it kind of becomes your identity. And there are 2 major factors now that the highest level of high school recruits pick a school. They pick a school based on the identity of the school, and they pick a school based on NIL money or scholarship money or whatever you want to call it, some combination of dollar bills, y'all, right? And yeah, there are going to be some high-level athletes that are going to pick a school with their primary justification being NIL, right? We've already seen that. We talked yesterday about the Cavender twins, right? The 2 most famous, maybe not talented, but 2 most famous or infamous of the college women's basketball players. They're at the University of Miami, predominantly because they knew they were going to get a lot more NIL opportunity in the land of bathing suits, right? That's just what happened. It's not bad. I applaud them for it. Good on you, girls. Make that cheddar, right? I ain't mad at y'all getting a 7-figure paycheck. Good for you, right? But a lot of athletes, I would be confident, though I don't have any way to prove it, I would be confident in saying the majority of high school athletes are still picking where they want to go play football based on school, based on coach, based on identity, based on where they're going to fit, etc., to give themselves the best opportunity to be visible moving forward when you're talking about the highest level athletes, right? A lot of kids pick based on this is who offered me. But the highest level athletes, the ones you need to elevate your program to the next level, are considering your identity as much as anything else, right? That's why Alabama has just been able to get the number 1 recruiting class every year. Why? Because they got the number 1 recruiting class last year and the year before that and the year before that, and they're a playoff staple. That's why Clemson, since they made their first run, has routinely brought in top 10, top 5 recruiting classes because their identity is the playoffs are the minimum for us. The playoffs are the bar for us. And that's why, by the way, they get beat up on a lot, Clemson fans. I've heard the sentence all the time. Oh, man, if Clemson doesn't make the playoffs, it's like their fans are just angry about it. It's like, yeah, but that's what they've established as their baseline, right? A lot of schools would love to have the baseline established of the playoffs are the bare minimum. That's the least that we'll find acceptable. Anything less than making the playoffs is not good enough for us. Well, I got news for you. If you're a 5-star quarterback coming out of Georgia and you're looking around trying to figure out where you want to go, you want to play for a championship, a conference championship, a natty. You want to play for a ship? You're going to go to the place that says the playoff is our baseline expectation. Championship is more than realistic for us, right? And that's why that's the problem that I have with the way that Shano framed it in his press conference. Because when you say, oh, we should find the joy in 6-6, like, should we? Is that good enough? Is mediocrity fine with me? Right? When I worked for a little mom and pop station down in Destin, Florida, where I got my paychecks 2-3 weeks late, where I had to work 3 or 4 other jobs because I had to, not because I'm an idiot and wanted to, right? I absolutely found joy in the fact that I was doing a job that, as I've said many times, how many of your guy friends wishes they could talk about football on the radio? Probably most of them, if not all of them. I absolutely found joy. That's why I put up with the crap I put up with, because the joy of 9 p.m. rolling around and me getting to crack my own mic because I also had to produce and edit my own show at the time. The joy I found was more than the pain in the rear-endedness that I had to put up with to continue doing that. But I also was never satisfied with that, right? My old man told me all the time, be happy, not satisfied. Never be satisfied. Be happy, be content, but don't be satisfied. Satisfaction with where you are leads to complacency with where you are. Complacency leads to stagnation. If you are finding joy in 6-6 because, hey, it's Saturday and I got 3 hours to take a break to enjoy a football game, awesome. That's great. That's fantastic. I love that. right? Even when my Saints suck, we are garbage. But you better believe I'm going to be parked in front of a television to watch my Saints play this weekend because I find joy in the game even when we suck. That being said, I know where the problems are. I know the things that aren't going well. I know the things that are going wrong for New Orleans, and I'm going to complain about them like a lot. Does that mean I don't find joy in football? No, of course I do. Of course I do. If I didn't find joy in football, I wouldn't be doing a football every weekend for dozens of hours. But I do find that joy. That doesn't mean that I'm okay with complacency in a bad program. And as I said, to me, the way that Shano opened that presser, it sounded like, hey, guys, you should just be okay with 6-6. Well, I'm not. I want my program to be better than that. And I know my program has the tools, the resources to be better than that, and we're just not doing it. That's complacency. There's no joy in complacency. Do I find joy in football? Hell yeah. Does it mean that I'm not going to crack this mic and complain when things are wrong? Of course I am, because I want better. I always want better. I wouldn't be here in Greenville, South Carolina, on the Fan Upstate, the greatest sports talk station in the South Carolina region, if I didn't want better. And now that I'm here, Alonzo and I have won a Crystal Trophy, and we're, we have launched and elevated our streaming content to a point that our bosses are telling everybody else in the building they've got to copy our model to do it, right? We got all this going on, and you know what I want? I still want better. That's why that red sequin jacket's hanging over in the corner right now, so that every time I walk in the door, it's the first thing I see, and it reminds me, you want to wear that thing? You want to pick up more hardware? You want to get your name on the front again of the program for the South Carolina Broadcasters Association? Then bust your ass in here and be better. When the show ends and I go, that show sucked, it doesn't mean I don't find joy in this job. Of course I do. I love this job. It means that there's something negative, and I'm going to fix it. Whatever it takes, I'm going to get it fixed. That's what that jacket means. I want a red jacket for the Gamecocks. Where's the red jacket? Where's the motivation to get better? Well, the number one motivation for a head coach, the number one motivation for the administration is what? The fans. That's it. You are the number one motivation. Your wallet primarily, but you are the number one motivation. So yeah, complain, make noise. Talk about what's good enough, because you doing that is the motivation for them to fix it. That's why I said what I said. That's why I'm not super thrilled about the way that Shano, again, a guy that I think for the most part, as far as the culture renaissance on campus, I think he's been doing it all right the whole time. I do. I bought in. Remember, when they hired this guy, I was the loudest critic of that hiring in the upstate. Maybe in the state. I hated the hire. I was like, dude, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why are you bringing in a guy that doesn't just not have HC experience? He doesn't have OC or DC experience at any level. It was a bad hire. And then he won me over. Because he went, the priority is the culture. But stagnation is a part of a culture, and you don't want it there. Right? Emily brought up a good point. She said, what is Shane supposed to say, right? What is he supposed to say? We know what the next step is. The next step is Sat's got to go at the end of the year. Sat's out at the end of the year, but he can't say that. I understand that. What I'm saying is I think it would be okay for a head coach to come out and go, look, we're 6-6. We're bowl eligible, right? We hit our mark, but we're not satisfied with it. We're not satisfied. We're not happy either. We wanted better this year. We didn't provide it. And that's our motivation. That's our red jacket for next year. That's not what he said. He said, quit crying, quit complaining, find joy. In 6-6? Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. The primary difference between Clemson and South Carolina right now, aside from talent.
And cows.
I don't know. Does Columbia have a golf course on their campus? Is there a golf course on Carolina's campus? Clemson's got a pretty nice golf course down there.
If you don't mind the cow patties.
Fair enough. The primary difference between those two schools is the culture, is the attitude. Like I said, The attitude at Clemson right now is nothing short of a playoff is good enough. They are going to finish this year 11-1, likely as the ACC champions, and it's not good enough for them, right? And when people on the outside go, hey, Clemson fans, you should settle down. You should relax. You're 11-1. You know how many schools would kill to be 11-1? Great. I ain't one of them. Right? If 11-1 in a conference title makes you happy, cool, man. Good for you. But it ain't. It ain't for me. If being on the air is good enough for you as a radio broadcaster, good for you. I am happy that you have found joy in that. But just being on the air isn't good enough for me. I want the show to be great. I want trophies. I want hardware. I want reasons to dress up in red sequin jackets. So that when somebody goes, man, that guy's a lot, I can go, yeah, that guy's a lot with a trophy, right? If you're going to make cow jokes about my campus, I'm going to go, oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you over all this gold. I want to be dripped, dude, right? That's the attitude on the campus of Clemson, and that's the attitude I would love to see on the campus at South Carolina. But based on that presser, seems like the attitude is 6-6 is okay, right? 6-6 is okay. Well, if you're a college kid, a true talent, who is split between Clemson and South Carolina, which one of those schools you want to play for? You want to play for the attitude of playoff is the minimum acceptable bar for us, or you want to play for the coach who goes, we're 6-6, find joy. If 6-6 is good enough for you, have at it. I'm glad you found your joy. But my joy ain't in mediocrity. It's not in being halfway down in a division. My joy is trophies, and I want to play for a school and a coach who demands them, because that's how I know they're going to be on my hardware shelf too.
I'm waiting for you to say hashtag all in when you're done with your tirade or your whatever it is, because the Clemson fans are really loving everything you're saying.
Because I'm right. And by the way, I would like to assume that about half of the South Carolina fans are on board with what I'm saying too. That 6-6 and find joy in being 500 is not good enough. It's not.
It was never.
And it never should be.
It was never said that. We already had this argument earlier, and the Gamecock fans were on my side. So you got the Clemson fans on your side. Good for you.
This is you're trying to place a divide in a conversation that is an attitude that every football fan should have. Every college football fan that is a fan of a major university should have the attitude. This is not like, oh, if you're red, you feel this way, and if you're orange, you feel this way. If you're blue, you feel that way, and if you're crimson, you feel that way, and if you're scarlet, you feel this way, and if you're blue and maize and gold or whatever, you feel that way. Every single football fan of a P5 university should have this attitude. I am not cool with 500. I'm not cool with it. I'm not good with it. Right? Kirby Smart didn't show up at Georgia. I'm going to use, because my man Brandon just popped in here with his Ugga talk. Kirby Smart did not roll up into Georgia as a former Saban dude and go, well, you know, we're 8-4. Let's find joy in that. He went, no, I want to kick everybody's ass.
Is that what he sounds like?
I don't know.
I haven't heard him lately. So
I don't know. I don't know that I could pick Kirby Smart's voice out of a voice lineup.
It sounded a little more like Jimbo Fisher to me, but
you know, daggum Nick Saban over there, just ruining it for everybody. How's that going for old Jimbo there? How's that going for Jimbo? Not great.
Hey, can I interrupt your negativity?
You think Jimbo would tell A&M fans find joy in 3-7?
Can I interrupt your negativity to let everyone know that we're going to give away Furman tickets for this weekend at the end of the show? So make sure you stay tuned, because I believe that Furman and Wofford is rivalry. I believe.
Yeah.
I believe they might just be, and you can get 2 tickets to their game at the end of the show. So make sure you stay tuned.
Sure can, and you sure should, because
you can find joy in the fact that you're about to win some tickets.
That's right. Not just tickets, but once again, the potential for the VIP treatment and experience from our friends at Furman. Not only are you going to win a pair of tickets, but on top of that pair of tickets, you are going to be entered in our grand prize drawing. That grand prize drawing will include a VIP experience at Saturday's game. You're going to get the opportunity to go down on the field for warm-ups, to watch a bit of the game down there. You're going to enjoy access to the President's Suite that is catered to watch the game in style and luxury, like me. Stay tuned. We got those tickets given away coming up in the next segment. We'll finish up some of your comments and roll out of here next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Fan, can we talk about golf and not politics? When did we talk? I haven't brought up politics at all. Did I? I don't think I did.
I don't know. I phased out somewhere in there and that whole thing. Yeah. I was searching for joy, but I couldn't find it in anything you were saying.
Demolishing joy left and right.
Yeah, which is what he does. And Jesse, if you weren't here for the entire 3 hours, then you don't get the entire thing. That's fine. Because if you were here for the entire 3 hours, it's funny you only started chiming up when he started talking positive about Clemson. I'm just saying. It's just, I mean, you know.
Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, and that's your sports flash on the Fan Upstate. I'm Kayla Burton with NFL Network Now on listening on your network. It's been a season of injuries with Branson at the Super Chance. All folks will undergo legal The Eagles will also be without one of their top pass catchers for a while. And Mike Garafolo reported tight end Dallas Goedert. Speaking of the Commanders, Carson Wentz is eligible to return from the injured starters. The head coach Ron Rivera refused to say Tuesday whether Wentz will return to the starting lineup as he said it was clear. Taylor Heinicke has gone 3-1. Shaq Leonard's injury in 2022 is now over. All of the
You just take a picture so they can put it next to negativity on Wikipedia.
No, I made a QR code. I want to see if it works.
Good thing Geico has 24/7 claim service. We're also filled with an abundance of biscuits. We are also filled with I don't think it works this way.
To manifest more Geico in your life, go to
You're being way too positive, Trey. You better stop that.
Yeah, we don't do that around
He's
here.
gonna come. He's gonna come at you.
Staples has you covered. It's beginning to look a lot like I need custom party invites. Fast.
I need cards for everyone who gave me a hand this year without spending an arm and a leg.
Staples has you covered with personalized holiday cards and invites. And now save 40% on custom holiday cards and invitations. For everything you need printed, go to Staples.
And even through all this, Rob's still not the most negative person I've ever worked with. So there's that.
So
I'm not
there's
going to say where he ranks in there.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get top brand laundry sets with the latest tech to tackle any mess you might face this holiday, like automatic fabric and load size detection for spills of any size, from cookies and milk on your favorite holiday sweater to the toddler of the house discovering just how fun cranberry sauce can be. Make more magic this holiday season. Let your new appliances handle the mess. Shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select LG laundry sets at the Home Depot. How do us get more done? Offer value from 2nd through 3rd. US only. See store or online for details.
Dell Technologies Black Friday event has arrived with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 50% off select performance business PCs powered by Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call the Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals.
Trey, I'm going to pretend like I didn't see that.
Dell.
Well, now I obviously have to go see that. And now I'm going to go right back away from that.
Join Odyssey. And together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. From the Ingles Market Studio.
All right. Stay tuned for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the biggest rivalry in the upstate. And that would be Furman versus Wofford. You can say Clemson, South Carolina, but you know what? Clemson's not in the upstate. Neither is South Carolina. So, but you know what teams are? That would be Furman and Wofford, both in the upstate. So the best rivalry in all of the upstate, Furman versus Wofford. You can win tickets for that in just a minute. But first, the first thing that's trending is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
There are two things that I saw, and I don't know that either one of them. In fact, I'm relatively sure they're not. Number one is KO bummed his knee out in a live match the other day, but before he left the ring with the MCL sprain, which is what it's being called, he still decided to drop the stunner on Austin Theory anyway, which is a very Stone Cold move. Number two, I saw a picture earlier today of a fat rattlesnake that was too fat to crawl back into his den. So he had put like his head in the den, but then his whole body was hanging out because he got too fat to go into the den. And like he just fell asleep. Like he was just like, all right, I'm hidden. I'm obviously okay. I'm sure that is not why he is trending, though.
It's not, but that's an interesting picture. It's actually the opposite of that. He's trending because supposedly he's in really good shape. And the rumor is that
I don't need it.
he'll be back for WrestleMania. Whether you need it or not, that's the rumor. And, rumors are just that. They're rumors. Sometimes they're founded, sometimes they're not. So,
Please don't go down the route of like,
what if
you guys like this guy 30 years ago? You'll probably still like him now, right?
Hey, that return match last year was great between he and Kevin Owens. You mentioned Kevin Owens. If Stone Cold wants to come back, do you tell him no?
I mean, me personally, yes. But I also understand that the dude is going to sell tickets like it's nobody's business.
Well, it's WrestleMania. They're going to sell tickets anyway, and that's
Also
when the rumor is. The other thing that's trending is Deshaun Watson, but, we don't have time for that.
He's practicing.
Yeah.
That's why he's trending.
Yeah, we don't have time for that because we do have time to give away tickets to the biggest rivalry in all of the upstate.
How about Furman v. Wofford coming up on the campus of Furman this Saturday? And here's your chance to win a pair of tickets to that game. And if you win that pair of tickets, your name will be entered into our grand prize drawing, which if you win the grand prize drawing, you are going to get the VIP experience. You are going to get treated like a VIP at the game. You're going to get brought down onto the field for pregame. You are going to get to experience part of the game from the sideline. You have access to the President's Suite that is catered to watch it from up in the President's Suite. It is an incredible experience. And if you want a chance to win, caller number 4 right now, caller number 4 to 844-326-3663. Caller number 4 to 844-326-3663 is going to win a pair of tickets and have your name entered into the grand prize drawing for this weekend's game. Wofford at Furman on Saturday. Caller number 4, 844-326-3663 is going to get the dub and entry into the grand prize drawing. That's all for us. Jim Rome's up next in the jungle. Then Mark and Diesel take you offsides at 3. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, guys and girls,
Congratulations,
as
you're
long
the
as I was
winner.
about
If
to
you
ask
can
for
hang on,
information,
I'll
we're going to
get
hang
right
up,
to you.
and we will see you back here tomorrow. You
Hang on.
guys are